Meet Yang Su-hyuk, an absolute beast who soloed an entire empire and conquered the Huan continent. Armed with god-tier martial arts, he reached the pinnacle of wealth and legendary fame. Legions bowed at his feet, yet the crown felt heavy with boredom. He ditched the throne for Earth. To return to his homeworld, he struck a deal with a bald warlock for a dimensional jump. The mage questioned his desire to be human again. Hyuk's reason: he just missed his family. The orb glowed as the ritual began. After ages of waiting, our hero was finally heading home. Darkness faded into the rhythmic beep of a hospital monitor. Soo-hyuk's eyes snapped open. Spotting Korean characters on a nearby calendar, he realized the spell worked. But as he moved, every muscle screamed in agony. Glancing at his reflection, he saw that the warlock totally scammed him. His timing was off, so he unleashed a hidden technique to purge the impurities from his wrecked form. Moments later, health surged back and his looks improved. Then he opened the system and froze. His double S rank had plummeted to rank A. Fuming over the botched teleport, he heard nurses approaching. He croaked a greeting, but the nurses jumped back like they had seen a literal ghost. A doctor rushed in to perform a frantic checkup, his face pale with disbelief and concern. Soo-hyuk had been a vegetable for 5 years. That bald mage had overshot the landing by half a decade. He stood there speechless and paralyzed by the news. The doctor exited, but then the door creaked open. It was Seol-ah, his sister. Tears blurred her vision as she stared at her brother's miracle awakening. Reassuring her he was back, he listened as she described the great impact portal from 5 years ago. A massive crater swallowed the city center, leaving total ruin. Amidst the screams and the carnage, countless rifts tore through the sky as hunters descended to slay the monsters. Fast forward 5 years, society had completely flipped. Hyuk realized he was a relic in this strange new version of Earth. Even weirdos selling canned farts was a thing now. Pivoting, he asked about her college life. She claimed she skipped school to hustle for cash. Hyuk sensed the cap immediately, but kept quiet. As they talked, haunting memories of his father's final moments began to resurface. His dad was a workaholic ghost who never had a spare second to play with his son. A struggling poet who never caught a break, he was a failure in Hyuk's maturing eyes. Eventually, Hyuk's resentment boiled over until he was ashamed to even call the man his father. Then the first rift manifested, dragging Hyuk inside. His father lunged forward in a desperate rescue attempt, but he was too slow. That goodbye lasted 5 years until the man walked into the hospital room. Dropping his bags, his father's voice cracked as he apologized for their crushing poverty. He blamed himself for the poor medical care, but Hyuk just sobbed and pulled him into a hug. 3 days later, Soo-hyuk checked out, returning to a cramped, run-down apartment they now called home. 5 years of medical debt had bled them dry. Hyuk knew he needed to stack some serious cash. In this era of dungeons and monsters, the Awakened were the new top 1%. Hunter work was the ultimate money glitch, but his body was 90% contaminated from the coma. Undeterred, he grinded stair sprints for days. Despite the effort, his progress felt like a snail's crawl. Remembering his family's sacrifice, he ignited his internal energy to push past his limits. Fortifying his soul, he sprinted through the agony. Quitting simply was not an option for an ex-emperor. As twilight fell, he continued his relentless climb, drawing confused stares from the local residents. Days of pure grind finally paid off with stat boosts in strength and stamina. Level 2 achieved. His recovery was complete. Hunter status pending. The next morning, he marched into the Hunter Association. He bypassed the crowds heading for registration. The staff's routine was shattered when Soo-hyuk stepped inside. Bored, the clerk explained, the drill touched the orb and if it glows, you are officially awakened. Most people here are just chasing clout, but Hyuk's status window told a very different story. He knew his worth. True to form, the orb blazed with light as the clerk stood stunned. The clerk hands over the paperwork immediately. Soo-hyuk finds the registration process surprisingly simple. After a quick mana verification, he finishes the forms and returns them. Suddenly, the clerk freezes. A level 1 rookie with 32 registered skills. It makes no sense. Soo-hyuk asks if there is a problem, but the annoyed official thinks he is being trolled. Soo-hyuk knew his stats were stacked, but this level of disbelief is just disappointing. He offers to set his window to public. The clerk agrees, desperate for the truth. Soo-hyuk reveals his screen, leaving the man absolutely paralyzed with shock. Seeing dozens of A-rank skills on a level 1 sheet, the official finally believes his eyes. The man bows in apology, rushing the registration to make up for his earlier rudeness. The file is immediately forwarded to Oh Jin-woo at the Hunter Association. Is this real? Jin-woo asks. The witness confirms he saw the miracle himself. It is all legit. The red-headed official stares at Soo-hyuk's name, deeply intrigued. A monster rookie has arrived. Meanwhile, Soo-hyuk is already outside, pushing his physical limits. Sprinting home makes his lungs burn, but his stamina stat finally levels up. These system rewards are so cracked he jokes about getting diabetes from the gains. The former emperor wanted to hunt now, but the rules got in his way. Mandatory training is required to keep rookies from getting slaughtered in dungeons. Without preparation, dungeons are graveyards. The next session starts at the month's end. It is October 26th. Soo-hyuk does not need this, but he has to wait. He uses the next 5 days to sharpen his body for the coming trials. For his family and his future, he trains until the day finally arrives. The grounds are packed despite the rumors that this path is a death sentence. Suddenly, a ripple of energy flashes past him. Soo-hyuk senses something moving incredibly fast. A powerful voice rings out. 48 participants are present. The air feels heavy. A stunning blonde elf commands the room, leaving the rookies in total awe. One girl is starstruck, but Soo-hyuk's eyes are locked on the elf's insane speed. She moved faster than sight. This was not just speed, it was something supernatural. An elven trait, Soo-hyuk smirks, finding the instructor surprisingly interesting. The elf scans the crowd, locking eyes with Soo-hyuk as the association ordered. She is shocked. A level 1 who actually detected her, that is unheard of. While she observes the monster, the other trainees just gawk at her beauty. Silence, she commands her ethereal presence, demanding everyone's absolute attention. Soo-hyuk listens closely as she explains her special role for the Korean government. Meet Shar Kolar Luriat, a legendary great warrior from the realm of Elvenheim. She is here to train these earthlings, though her full name is a total mouthful. Just call me Shar. Soo-hyuk thinks it sounds like a cute puppy name. While one girl admires her, the redhead looks ready for war. Shar continues. Since elves are rare on Earth, she agrees to take exactly 3 questions. A hand shoots up. It is the same hyperactive girl glowing with excitement. Soo-hyuk wonders why a kid is here, but Shar likes her fiery energy. Meet Baek Ayoon 19. The crowd gasps at her surprisingly young age. Soo-hyuk cringes in secondhand embarrassment as the high schooler begins to speak. Instead of a question, Ayoon just showers the elf with pure fangirl praise. She claims Shar is the most beautiful creature she has ever seen on Earth. The legendary instructor is left totally baffled by the girl's blunt, weird compliments. As the legendary first sword of House Kalalorit, she demands to be viewed as a lethal warrior rather than a mere lady. Moving to the next query, she scans the crowd before singling out a menacing, crimson-haired man. Shar chooses him for his quick initiative, leaving the rest of the group paralyzed with shock. Soo-hyuk questions his own old-fashioned bias against tattoos as the redhead identifies himself as Jin Chang-hyuk. He starts with a curveball asking if those with a criminal past are even permitted to join the training. Since admission depends entirely on the teacher's whim, Shar demands to know the nature of his sins. Looking slightly flustered, Chang-hyuk confesses to theft, prompting Shar to warn him against future stealing. She swears his past won't haunt him here, explaining Elvenheim's 2 brutal paths for those who stray: either serve their relatives in shame or bleed on the front lines to protect the realm. Her words captivate the room as she notes that Chang-hyuk clearly chose the path of war. In her world, it's called Langdaer, but on Earth it is known as a path of honorable repentance. Shar insists his burden is heavier now, requiring him to work twice as hard without forgetting his mistakes. She urges him to walk with honor, noting that while sins remain, forgiveness is always within reach. Deeply moved, the redhead nods in gratitude before Shar calls for the final question of the day. A hand shoots up instantly, impressing the elf. The owner is none other than Yang Soo-hyuk. With a mysterious smirk, she admits she's keeping an eye on him, sparking rumors about their hidden connection. The former emperor feels a flicker of suspicion, wondering if her interest is purely professional. After Shar tries to wrap up, Soo-hyuk pivots, asking if she's the sole instructor for this massive group. Acknowledging his concerns, Shar clarifies that while she's the head, she isn't working alone. Regular staff will assist, though she'll personally lead the specialized combat training sessions. Soo-hyuk views her as both principal and professor, just as Xiao Bai signals the end of Q&A. Suddenly, a skeptic speaks up openly, doubting the elf's credibility, while Xiao Bai watches the drama unfold. He argues that a non-human shouldn't lead them, especially since she isn't a proven ranker in this country. Comparing her to other pros, he mocks her delicate appearance, doubting she even knows how to fight. Smirking, he suggests her beauty is better suited for something far away from the brutal battlefield. Unfazed, Shar prepares a demonstration. As green mana surges, she vows to show him her true power. She extends a hand, unleashing a blinding radiance that requires almost zero effort from her. Gravity crushes the room as recruits find themselves paralyzed while the loudmouth can't even catch his breath. Shar emphasizes that while skill matters, ironclad discipline is the foundation of her training. She dismisses the first outburst as a mistake, but promises zero mercy for any future disrespect. The bully literally soils himself in terror, but Shar notices one man still standing amidst the pressure. She's genuinely stunned that her intimidation aura failed to bring this specific rookie to his knees. Despite his level 1 status, she realizes this guy is far more dangerous than he appears. She senses he's already battle-ready, while Soo-hyuk wonders if he should have just faked a fall. Seeing potential beyond mere stats, Shar resolves to keep a very close eye on his progress. As the crushing pressure lifts, Shar concludes the session, forbidding any signs of weakness or frowning. The recruits tremble as the elf turns her back, marking the end of their first encounter. Classes resume later at the association headquarters where the real mental grind begins. They dive into monster biology, specifically the Delino species, but Soo-hyuk's mind starts to wander. Academic life feels foreign after so long. He craves the adrenaline of a real fight instead. His wandering focus doesn't escape the head instructor who launches a warning shot of pure energy. Char permits no slacking, even for a split second, proving her eyes are everywhere at once. Soo-hyuk regrets his daydreaming, yet he's always been more of a warrior than a scholar. His attention shifts again as he notices Chang-hyuk acting incredibly shady in the corner. The man seems to be searching for a target, and Soo-hyuk decides to track his every move. Soo-hyuk senses a watchful gaze only to realize the former emperor was merely eyeing his notes. He pegs the redhead as surprisingly timid. Meanwhile, Char disciplines a recruit before setting her sights on Soo-hyuk. She barks at him to focus on the lecture. Soo-hyuk scoffs at her ruthlessness, certain they'll never see eye to eye. As the bell rings, the instructor warns them to hit the books, noting a bizarre annual trend. Recruits usually bomb the written exam. The drained students nod solemnly, while their teacher beams with rare optimism. Never in his career has he witnessed such intense focus. Xiaobai glows with pride at her partner's success. Soo-hyuk gathers his gear when a familiar voice rings out. A beaming Yuan chirps that Appa title again. He deadpans, asking if she's a local grade schooler. Offended, she shouts her high school status and brands him a fossil. Recalling she's actually 19 only fuels her fire. Cutting through the noise, the former ruler demands her business. He cuts to the chase, asking her intent. Yuan reveals he alone remained upright during Char's brutal onslaught. Her sharp observation catches him off guard. Beishuo chimes in, admitting he was equally floored by the impressive display. She wonders if he's built of steel to survive that pressure. Soo-hyuk simply shrugs, claiming a perfectly normal heart. He chalks it up to pure luck. The redhead admires his modesty, finding his nonchalant attitude incredibly badass. Seizing the moment, Soo-hyuk questions if that's why the guy's eyes were glued to him all lecture. The former thief offers a bashful apology. Soo-hyuk waves it off, reconsidering his initial low opinion of the guy. Bubbling with energy, Yuan invites him to lunch, jokingly dubbing their little group the Question Trio. Soo-hyuk declines, citing urgent business. Yuan pouts, calling it a cheap move to use his high-level evasion skills. He vanishes, leaving Beishuo struck by his charisma, while the girl fumes at the old man's cold shoulder. Theory training spans 30 days, a rigid government mandate, with zero room for shortcuts or extensions. Though he yearns for the front lines, the high failure rate ignites his drive to dominate the academic rankings. He mentally thanks the elf for eliminating any chance of laziness. Rumors from the staff echo the same sentiment. High success rates don't guarantee safety. While the test isn't legendary in difficulty, complacency is a death sentence. No one passes by luck alone. A terrified Yuan whispers about a legendary curse that haunts those who fail. One failure leads to an eternal cycle of defeat. Horrified, she turns to her Appa with trembling eyes. She asks if his soul is shaking. Losing patience, Soo-hyuk tells her to just pass, identifying the real problem. Her curiosity piqued, she follows his gaze. A group of recruits is busy planning a celebratory dinner party. They're prioritizing drinks and last-minute cramming over actual discipline. The realization hits her. Soo-hyuk prepares to leave, questioning if she's planning to ditch her studies too. Yuan sulks at his icy demeanor. Soo-hyuk offers a brief apology. To him, family moments are non-negotiable treasures. He clawed his way back to this peace and refuses to let a single second slip away again. 30 days fly by, bringing the dreaded exam. Beishuo nervously notes that results drop within the same day. His anxiety spikes as Yuan starts emitting strange, high-pitched groans. The redhead snaps, begging her for some silence. He's already on edge. Yuan innocently wonders if verbalizing his fear actually makes the panic worse. His hesitant nod is all the ammo she needs. She begins mimicking a frantic heartbeat, thump, thump, thump. Beishuo begs for quiet as the scores are posted, all while bickering with his persistent little tormentor. The names Yuri Shu, Yue, and Beishuo flash on the screen. Yuan explodes in a victory dance. Soo-hyuk is stunned. He questions how a girl who spent the month goofing off secured such elite marks. She grins, claiming true geniuses thrive in the shadows. He scoffs at her ridiculous over-the-top logic. He begrudgingly admits she has a point. Suddenly he spots Beishuo breaking down in tears of pure relief. Thinking of his brothers, Beishuo's joy is infectious. Even the stoic Shu Yue feels a wave of warmth. Despite a rocky start, the redhead proves his worth. As they bond, his tragic backstory finally unfolds. Beishuo alone provides for 3 siblings. Alcohol claimed his father, leaving the family shattered and broken. His mother vanished to escape domestic horror, leaving him in charge since his sophomore year of high school. Raising kids solo gave him a rough exterior, earning him the unfair label of a common street delinquent. Soo-hyuk sees his true heart. His past arrest was a desperate act of love to feed his family. He grinded immediately to clear his debt, proving he actually possesses a solid moral compass. Soo-hyuk acknowledges his past struggles, noting that his newfound physical prowess means it is time to level up. A bashful Jang Hyuk offers his thanks, but the former emperor scoffs, questioning his own contribution to their success. Jang Hyuk insisted his growth was solo, yet the redhead admits his relentless hustle was the ultimate spark. Soo-hyuk shuts down the flattery instantly. Jang Hyuk beams hyped that their trio is officially starting field training. He turns to the girl expressing gratitude for her daily dedication during those grueling late-night study sessions. Soo-hyuk is stunned. She was not just slacking off after all. Suddenly, the redhead's phone erupts with a ring. He breaks the news to his brother he passed. The worst is over, and he is ready to give his all. Soo-hyuk considers humble pie for him, but knows he will survive the chaos despite the rocky road ahead. 42 out of 49 made the cut, crushing the usual 50% failure rate. It is the instructor Char effect. She is a top-tier mentor, even if most trainees were convinced they were doomed from the very start. With the elf's gaze fixed on him, Soo-hyuk senses the true nightmare begins with next week's practicals. Things are about to get spicy. In the blink of an eye, the entire week vanishes into history. Char takes command of Squad 8. As the trio assembles, Soo-hyuk finds the team dynamic surprisingly intriguing. He wonders about this pairing, but the elf reveals she handpicked each member based on their matching temperaments. Yet landing in Team 8 was pure destiny, a lucky draw she calls a blessing from the world tree. Yijun vibrates with hype, claiming it is fate. Char merely offers a mysterious smirk at his enthusiasm. Destiny indeed, she purrs, before coldly warning that fate won't earn them any mercy during her brutal training. Dread washes over them instantly. Meanwhile, Soo-hyuk stays locked in, analyzing the situation with sharp focus. He realizes she is tightening the leash because they are finally stepping onto a real, blood-soaked battlefield. Char announces their portal entry, putting the redhead on the spot to define exactly what they are facing. A gateway to another realm, he answers. The elf nods but warns that every portal hides unique dangers. She quizzes Cadet Soo-hyuk on last week's intel. The former sovereign recites the facts with bored precision. Portals split into two categories, friendly or hostile. The hostiles are tiered from 1 to 13 in lethality. High ranks mean instant death. Char is impressed that her supposedly lazy students are actually paying attention. She reveals they are diving into a rank 1 hostile portal. Yi-yun Ching's eyes light up with adrenaline. Quizzed by the elf, the girl explains that these dungeons house low-density, weak mobs for training fodder. It is basically a sandbox for rookies. Char asks if she truly believes this will be a walk in the park. The girl smirks confidently. Char counters with a chilling question. Do these weak monsters lack the power to kill? Silence falls, but Soo-hyuk cuts through it. Death is always on the table. The elf's eyes gleam with approval. To prove her point, Char unleashes a suffocating wave of pure, lethal bloodlust that crushes the very atmosphere. Yet Soo-hyuk stands unfazed amidst the pressure. The elf is visibly shaken by his terrifyingly calm composure. The former monarch debates if he should fake a struggle to keep his cover intact. He puts on a show, but Char sees right through him, telling him to drop the act immediately. This killing intent is alien to them, but as future hunters, they must adapt or face total annihilation. Failure to master this pressure means becoming an easy snack for monsters when they least expect it. The gravity of her words sinks in. Observing them, Char notes that everyone except for one prepared well. She is stunned they all survived her bloodlust, leading her to wonder about their hidden combat history. She probes for battle experience. Soo-hyuk plays it cool, but Char is not buying his vague excuses. Surviving that pressure requires more than similar experience. He is hiding a monster. She loves a mysterious man. At least his stats are legit. Without another word, Team 8 hits the pavement and heads out. If they sprint full tilt, they will hit the Mappo station portal in exactly 60 minutes. No excuses. Running really, the elf deadpans, admitting she is clueless about buses and lacks a driver's license. Plus, a light jog is the perfect warm-up. She officially appoints Soo-hyuk as the squad leader. He is in charge of the pace. 60 minutes Mappo station. With that, Char vanishes into a blur of speed. With no other options, they're forced into a desperate sprint, though. Ayun Shing grumbles about the sudden cardio. The boys leave her in the dust as they finally reach the rendezvous, leaving both Ayun and Chang-hyuk completely gassed. Meanwhile, the former emperor hasn't even broken a sweat. Waiting for them at the clearing is Char, the lethal elf instructor. She's impressed by their record-breaking pace and stellar performance. With 10 minutes to spare, the portal awaits. Chang-hyuk wheezes that he's at death's door from the exhaustion, and the girl looks just as wrecked. Soo-hyuk realizes the frantic run wasn't just torture, it actually bled off their nervous tension and primed their muscles. If this was all calculated, the elf is a genius. Her title as chief wasn't just for show. Suddenly, Char's voice cuts through the air, warning that their brief 10-minute respite is officially over. The elf asks if they're ready to dive in, receiving a roar of excitement. She activates a mysterious, ancient-looking key. A hidden passage grinds open, beckoning them forward. Chang-hyuk and the girl exchange a wary, suspicious glance. Deep beneath Mapo Station lies Mugi, a rank 1 dungeon whose name translates to the borderless world. Soo-hyuk recalls his studies on these Mugi dimensions, forgotten realms, cast aside and abandoned by the universe itself. They are nameless voids, though rumors suggest even these dead worlds once housed thriving intelligent civilizations long ago. Seeing the ruins of a lost era sparks a realization in the mind of the former sovereign. He wonders if this dungeon is merely the corpse of a fallen world. To Soo-hyuk, that possibility is hauntingly interesting. Under a blood-red sky and scorched earth, Team 8 prepares to breach the unknown entrance. They step through the gate into the Mapo Mugi, where the temperature plummets below 2 degrees. It's a frozen wasteland. Char warns them to stay frosty. In this hellscape, the enemy strikes without warning. Their targets are the narrow, 3-meter-tall canine monstrosities that haunt these desolate alien plains. These beasts are known for lethal leaps and bone-crushing bites, usually hunting in tight-knit packs of 3. Despite being a rank 1 entry point, these predators are a total nightmare for any rookie awakened. But to Soo-hyuk, they're just target practice. His system window flickers to life, showing the fruits of his intense study. His stats have surged overall, and his awakening is firing on all cylinders with a massive 20% buff active. The power spike is staggering. Even Soo-hyuk is surprised by how far he outclasses the average awakened hero. Combine those stats with his god-tier martial arts and past-life combat experience, and he's already at a first-class level. Reclaiming his throne's power in just 1 month, his confidence is absolute as he prepares for the slaughter. Even while lost in thought, his senses are razor-sharp. He raises a hand, signaling the entire team to halt. "Guests are arriving," he mutters. 5 shadows emerge from the gloom, charging straight for the squad. Char observes calmly, telling Chung-hyuk that a warrior of his caliber shouldn't take a single scratch from these pups. "Stay sharp, Squad 8. The captain orders them to hold their ground until the monsters enter the kill zone." Wait for the visual. Soo-hyuk suppresses a yawn. This textbook approach is way too slow for his liking. He wants to solo the pack in seconds, but for now he'll play the role of a good teammate. Neither of his peers has a weapon, as live training gear is provided only when needed. Soo-hyuk, however, stays empty-handed by choice. His fists are all the weapons he needs. He wonders if the other two have any tricks for unarmed combat. The Naro pack closes the distance at blinding speed. Finally, Char's voice rings out, "Engage." Suddenly, lethal iron claws erupt from Chang-hyuk's hands as the redhead lurches forward like a blur. Ayun hangs back to provide support. Seeing the opening, Soo-hyuk finally unleashes his brilliant blue aura. Activating the Gale Step technique, he transforms into a gust of wind, effortlessly overtaking the charging Chang-hyuk. It's time for a live stress test of his new body. The first monster lunges with its jaws wide open. He slips past the snap, countering with an iron-shattering palm shockwave that rattles the beast's bones. Following up with a piercing breakthrough strike, he obliterates the first target, just as another Narrow pounces. It aims for his throat with razor-sharp fangs, but Soo-hyuk effortlessly vaults into the air, dancing around the strike. Gravity becomes his ally, as the former emperor delivers a devastating whirlwind kick that sends the beast crashing down. The monster is flattened into the dirt like a discarded rag. His teammates stand frozen in pure awe. Even Char is shook, wondering if this trainee is even human. In a heartbeat, 2 elite predators have been erased. More beasts remain. A monster lunges. Soo-hyuk shifts his lethal gaze toward the threat. He steps forward, meeting the horror head-on. Even the monster looks stunned by his boldness. Activating Iron Fist techniques, Soo-hyuk unleashes a merciless chainbreaker strike upon his foe. The former emperor shreds the beast. Witnessing this carnage, Shara battles a surge of pure greed. This human is driving her insane. She desperately needs him for Elvenheim. Meanwhile, Soo-hyuk ponders. Is his body exceeding limits because he's reclaiming his past mastery? The results are better than expected. The system's buffs are definitely helping. At this rate, he'll reach Hwan ahead of everyone else. Only 2 monsters remain. He wants the kills, but remembers this is supposed to be group training. Carrying them defeats the purpose. This is a mere test for him, but they need real blood. His teammates stand frozen, baffled by Soo-hyuk's calm demeanor. Chang-hyuk, realizing he's being given an opening, he unsheathes his claws. The redhead baits the final beast. He waits. His claws ignite with a searing crimson glow. Suddenly, the monster blurs into motion. Chang-hyuk shouts a warning. The beast is flanking. Its lethal fangs snap inches from Soo-hyuk's skin. A massive maw engulfs his arm. The speed was inhuman. Crimson droplets stain the cold earth. But he's prepared. Aeon's healing light mends the wound instantly, leaving him stunned by her power. Soo-hyuk notes the recovery skill impressive, but the danger is far from over. More threats approach. A fresh wave of predators surrounds them, more savage than the last. No time for breath. Having adapted to the chaos, it's time to sweep. Squad 8 finally moves as one unit. Silence finally returns to the station. They emerge battered and exhausted from the intense ordeal. They're desperate for rest. After 6 brutal encounters during their first outing, Soo-hyuk understands. Beaming the elf praises their performance, acknowledging the incredible potential of Earth's awakened. They're confused by her praise. Shara explains that despite the exhaustion, something miraculous happened. Their growth mid-battle defied logic. As usual, the rookies are completely oblivious to their progress. To the former emperor, this felt natural, mere talent. Yet he couldn't ignore a nagging suspicion. Was the system secretly boosting them? Shara believes they're ready for real frontline deployment already. She glows with instructor's pride before finally dismissing them for the day. While the others cheer, she pulls Soo-hyuk aside. There's something she needs to address privately. He turns back curious. She notes his combat style feels ancient, not fueled by system skills. It flows like a true martial art. Shara offers him an out, if he's uncomfortable answering. He brushes off her concern openly, admitting his deep background in traditional martial arts training. She suspected as much, but a glaring contradiction remains, his years spent in a deep coma. How could a comatose man learn so rapidly? She's skeptical, yet knows the cosmos holds secrets. Many things remain beyond her grasp. When he asks if something is wrong, she simply demurs. She calls him a genius. He smirks. He's heard that countless times back on the continent. More than talent, Shara was moved by how he prioritized his team's growth. He smiles faintly, claiming it's just a leader's duty. The elf isn't having it. Most fail that responsibility, yet he excelled. She playfully calls him a truly lovely man. The emperor blushes furiously, failing to hide his flustered reaction. He claims she's just being dramatic. Despite his protests, her kindness strikes a chord. He realizes this elf is breathtakingly beautiful. Her beauty eclipses anyone from Wan. But he shakes it off. Duty calls and hunger remains. The hunt was exhilarating, fueling his craving for more. Not long ago, he was a legend. As the greatest warrior in Huan's history, his recovery speed is nothing short of supernatural. The thirst for power lingers, but he must resist rushing. Impatience is a dangerous enemy. He takes it one step at a time. Across the fields, he hauls a strange beast. This pace secures 10 million won monthly. By day 3, training is already a complete sweep. They blitzed through several first and second rank dungeons on the first try, making bank by selling off the loot. Monster remains are basically gold mines, so Soo-hyuk successfully stacked a massive pile of cash from the harvests. For now, he's keeping his riches low-key. He'll drop the truth bomb on his family when the time is right. A-young's low-key stressing about her master, but he just shrugs. She notes he looks suspiciously hyped despite the chaos. Watching the scene with a hint of cringe, the former emperor admits the girl actually has a point. Soo-hyuk keeps gaslighting himself into believing that this whole grind is strictly about the money. Suddenly, Shar blurs in behind them, warning the squad that the current vibe is getting dangerous. A-young's jealous of how fast her crew adapted, especially that redhead, who used to struggle so hard. Deep down, Soo-hyuk sees right through him. The guy is clearly just grinding for those fat stacks. An arrow whistles through the air. The emperor's senses tingle, while a distracted Chong-yuk just keeps yapping. Soo-hyuk snatches the arrow before it strikes his partner. He senses a strange, unnatural energy coming from the object. This isn't just some goblin scrap. It's a human-made shot. Two strangers suddenly emerge, one gripping a spear. They look stunned to see the entire mob has already been wiped clean by Soo-hyuk's squad. Soo-hyuk suspects Team 3 is up to something and demands answers. They claim they're just hunting for one last level. A newcomer asks for Squad 8, while Jen Chae-yeon looks totally smitten by the beautiful elf. Shar demands to know if they're with instructor Soo-jung. She never requested backup, so why are they lurking? Kim Chul-ik argues they don't need an invite to hunt together, but Shar isn't buying his nonsense. A-young finds it ridiculous. Do they not realize their reckless help almost sniped her master? Chaeyeon offers a weak apology, claiming it was an accident, but the elf is clearly fuming. Another figure arrives, stating the team already apologized. It's Soo-jung from the elite Mugi guild. The Team 3 lead asks if Shar intends to lecture her crew. Shar's response, it's her literal job. She stands her ground on her duty to train. The woman mocks Shar, calling her the cold flower of death. She claims kids make mistakes, but Shar insists that mistake was a straight-up lethal threat. Shar demands a real apology for the interference. The woman scoffs, annoyed by the elf's rigid attitude. She vents that elf's stubbornness is why she hates talking to them, warning Shar not to overstep. Shar claps back, reminding her who's the head instructor here. You're the only one crossing the line. Soo-jung mocks Shar's old man energy and tells them to keep the loot, it's too filthy for her taste. Before vanishing, she dares Shar to complain to the Mugi guild. That really strikes a nerve with the elf. Shar screams after the woman who doesn't even look back. Finally, the squad makes landfall as night falls. Surprisingly, Chong-yuk drops his guard and offers a rare, small smile along with a sincere thank you. Soo-yuk keeps it cool, prompting the redhead to awkwardly suggest grabbing a bite to eat sometime. The former emperor finds it bothersome, but A-young crashes the moment, accusing the guys of ditching her. The guys are shook. They totally thought she had already ghosted them for the night. A-young stomps down the stairs fuming. She only went to the restroom. Did they really plan to leave her? Soo-hyuk smooths things over by promising a group dinner soon. Suddenly, a new day begins. Back in the dungeon, Soo-hyuk is slaying mobs and watching his level stats skyrocket with every kill. He's itching for a real challenge, knowing he's close to reclaiming his peak martial arts glory for his family. But the vibe shifts instantly. His instructor suddenly leaps forward to parry an arrow meant for him. Char barks at Soo-hyuk. She's had eyes on the attacker for a while. She knows exactly where the woman is. Soo-hyuk tries to play it off as a mistake, but Char knows this was a deliberate attack. Yeon claims she was just following orders to fire and didn't see them. The team isn't buying the excuse. This is a total provocation. They're clearly salty after finding out. Char contacted the guildmaster. Char coldly reminds them that if you commit a crime, you've got to pay the price. No exceptions. A menacing aura erupts around the woman. She's done talking. She's ready to just wipe them all out. Remaining stone-cold Char warns her that while she knows they have beef, this has gone way too far. The elf sneers, claiming this entire mess started because Soo-hyuk has a crush on Song-mun-hyuk. That strikes a nerve, and Soo-hyuk tells her to zip it before things get ugly. It finally clicks for Soo-hyuk. He's caught in the middle of a petty lover's spat. Meanwhile, Char warns that the Mugi Guild's protection won't last forever. She demands an apology, challenging the girl to back off, while she still has the chance to walk away. The woman scoffs, asking if the elf plans to eliminate her. Char just smiles coldly, promising a severe punishment instead of a quick exit. Fed up, Soo-hyuk snaps and opens fire on them. Her teammate stands frozen, absolutely horrified by the forbidden dark techniques she just unleashed. Nobody moves an inch, even as the lethal energy surges toward them. Char whispers that, once they cross this line, there is no turning back. Suddenly, she's enveloped in a blinding radiance and strikes back. Soo-hyuk watches genuinely stunned that the elf neutralized the attack so effortlessly. The elf blocked it like it was nothing. Now trapped by her own pride and reputation, the woman knows she won't be killed, but the humiliation is real. She shrieks for Team 3 to annihilate Team 8. Soo-hyuk doesn't hesitate ordering his squad to break their limbs, if that's what it takes. The team hesitates, completely caught off guard by such a ruthless command. They can tell this is a terrible idea. With a demonic glint in her eyes, the woman asks if they've lost their desire to join the Mugi Guild. Soo-hyuk repeats that taking an arm or a leg is plenty. Just bring me results, she barks, and that's enough to snap them into gear. The trio charges forward, ready for blood. Char remains eerily calm, despite the threat driving Soo-hyuk into a blind rage. She screams that she'll force the elf to watch her precious trainees get crushed. Soo-hyuk quickly identifies a warrior and an archer in the group, but the third member's abilities remain a total mystery. Without warning, the ground begins to shatter. The warrior undergoes a grotesque transformation, his power surging to terrifying new heights. Team 8 is left speechless by the raw pressure. They're facing a transformation specialist who is already locked and loaded for war. Soo-hyuk decides to handle the giant pig, and the archer himself, asking for cover against the hidden threat. The big guy roars, promising to smash him into pieces. Soo-hyuk blurs past the first swing with godlike speed, leaping across the battlefield with effortless grace. The giant swings a massive punch, but those movements are child's play to a former emperor. Soo-hyuk counters with his signature iron-crushing fist. Their fists collide with a deafening boom. The shockwave is massive, sending the hulking Jungwook flying backward like a rag doll. Jungwook coughs up a spray of crimson. Soo-hyuk doesn't miss the beat, mocking the giant for actually being slow enough to take that hit. Realizing he's being blitzed, the big guy decides to switch forms. He bellows for his partner Chae-young to step in. The girl is already locked on, firing a high-voltage energy arrow straight at him. Soo-hyuk stands his ground, refusing to flinch. The projectile strikes and erupts in a blinding flash. Jungwook wears a confident smirk as the smoke slowly begins to drift away. But the arrow only found dirt. Over here, Pig Soo-hyuk's voice echoes from the shadows, catching them completely off guard. The former emperor drops from above like a meteor burying a fist into the giant. Jungwook hits the pavement instantly, knocked unconscious. Chae-young is paralyzed with fear. Her tank was just one shot. She trembles as Soo-hyuk turns his cold demonic gaze toward her. Stay back, she whimpers, but Soo-hyuk lashes out with a gale rebound kick. The long-range shockwave slams into the girl, sending her crashing down. Looking at the carnage, Soo-hyuk lets out an awkward laugh, realizing he might have overdone it. Then he hears a desperate plea for mercy. It's Chul-hee begging the clawed redhead to stop claiming they were just pawns forced into this suicide mission. Soo-hyuk steps in before things get lethal. The former emperor tells him to cool it, but Jungwook stammers that he's not a monster, he's still human. His personality flips instantly as he offers a desperate apology while his teammates lay broken on the ground. Jungwook reverts to his human form while the girl remains huddled in a heap of pain. Meanwhile, the squad captain is in total shock. Char still has full faith in her team's potential. Soo-hyuk just shrugs, asking if the show is finally over. There isn't much left of Team 3 besides broken bones. Soon after, an emergency meeting is called at the Baekdu Guild headquarters. The vice president receives the report about the brutal team clash. He looks around the room asking if everyone understands the gravity of the situation. The footage has everyone in the room stunned. Fixing his eyes on the team leaders, the vice president's expression turns grim. Usually Char would be running this meeting, but given the chaos, he and Sai are taking temporary control of the investigation. He starts by offering condolences for Team 3's fallen leader, though he doesn't believe blaming the trainees is the right call. Leader Lee from Squad 11 points out the impossible. A single trainee managed to wipe out an entire opposing squad. Another leader argues that while Soo-hyuk went completely overboard, his actions were clearly a matter of self-defense. Jung is fuming, pointing out that Squad 8 walked away without a single scratch, while her own trainees were utterly demolished. The vice president shuts her down, blaming her for starting a war over a petty romance. Jung's blood boils at his blunt words. He reminds her that he's the lead instructor and tells her to watch her tone. Lee snaps back, asking if the hierarchy even matters anymore. The vice president shakes his head. That is exactly why they are all here. It is time for a final vote. All eyes are on Yang Soo-hyuk, the only trainee facing trial. This kid isn't just some rookie. He's a once-in-a-generation prodigy. The vice calls for a show of hands to punish him. Only one person dares to raise theirs, but they quickly chicken out. Under the heavy glares of the room, that single hand drops. The atmosphere is thick with tension and pure annoyance. Lee demands to know why everyone is playing mute. Sayul points out the obvious: almost nobody wants the boy penalized. Next on the chopping block is head instructor Shahar. A rival suggests firing the elf and snatching her prestigious position. The votes pour in, stripping Shahar of her title and slapping her with a massive 100 million and 1-1 fine. This donation goes straight to the association. When Sayul asks for her side, Shahar chooses a dignified silence. She admits the duel lacked honor and accepts the hit. Her cold compliance absolutely infuriates her enemies. Shahar Khan questions the severity, but Sayul shuts her down, insisting the sentence is fair, before asking for any final objections. The woman scoffs at the absurdity, begging someone to speak up. To her, this isn't just a trial, it's a complete mockery. The room stays dead silent from the pressure. Seeing her struggle, Sayul just offers a chilling, mocking smirk. He declares the Black Cloud Witch has grown far too arrogant. Enraged by his words, Shahar Khan loses her cool. She barks out an insult, calling him a bastard. Immediately, the new head instructor slams his fist down, rattling the table. Sayul roars, reminding her that guild names mean nothing here. He preaches that training cadets is about forging Korea's future heroes. He claims protecting the world is a sacred duty. A terrifying aura begins to radiate from his body as he speaks. He accuses her of tainting their mission over a pathetic romantic grudge. As punishment, he drops a massive bombshell. She and the Emogi Guild are officially banned from all instructor duties for 3 years. The room falls into shock. Sujong challenges his authority, but Sayul stands firm. He's making the call as the director of the 56th trainee program. An instructor suggests a vote to keep things official. Sayul agrees, deciding to let the majority rule the fate of the guild. Since they still value democracy, he forces them to choose side with Baekdu-san or stick with Emogi. Baekdu-san is the undisputed king of the 3 guilds. Suddenly, the man realizes he's bet on the losing horse. It's a total wipeout for Emogi. The crowd whispers about Sayul's uncharacteristic rage and the sheer intensity of the meeting. Everyone is dying to know Emogi's fate. Meanwhile, others wonder if they should recruit Soo-hyuk immediately given his god-tier performance. While the big shots argue, the former emperor keeps a watchful eye. He's observing the power shifts from the shadows. He tracked the meeting out of curiosity, but ultimately, he doesn't care. His only focus is the next battle ahead. As night falls, the grind continues. Through grueling training and combat, Soo-hyuk's power level is reaching new terrifying heights. He's finally ready to initiate the art of unifying heaven and earth, bridging the 2 worlds with a single thread. They are 2, yet 1, a complex trinity of power. Energy surges from his lower dantian, beginning its violent journey. The force floods through his ren and du meridians in a massive circulation. It's agonizing, but his past life experience carries him. Soo-hyuk masters the flow, purging every impurity from his soul. His meridians fly open, leaving his body in absolute peak condition. A system alert flashes he has mastered the level 5 secret martial art, the art of uniting heaven and earth. His physical form undergoes a legendary evolution. This isn't just a level up. His entire biology has been restructured. Having achieved a unified form, Soo-hyuk takes his first steps toward true godhood. Now, he just needs a target to test it. Suddenly, something sinister ripples beneath the desert sand. A nightmare creature with rows of jagged teeth bursts onto the surface. With his core restored, Soo-hyuk's next goal is reclaiming his Godspeed movement techniques. He stares down the beast. The monster stalks closer, using the shifting sands as cover. It thinks it found a meal, but it's dead wrong. Soo-hyuk doesn't wait. He lunges forward with the iron-crushing palm, activating absolute severance to end things instantly. Channeling 42% of his inner reserve, he delivers a punch backed by an unbreakable will, shattering the monster. The power is incredible, but the mana drain is heavy. More desert horrors begin to crawl out of the dunes. Wrapped in a flickering aura, he realizes his control isn't perfect yet. Suddenly, the energy explodes into a brilliant blue flame. As Suyuk prepares his next strike, the system identifies a legendary discovery, the long-lost 8 trigram steps. The ex-emperor cocks his fist, ready to obliterate anything in his path. His first strike connects, sending a monster flying. The impact is devastating, launching the creature back into the dust. His comrades watch the massacre in total terror. Ayun shudders, noting that the old man is on a completely different level. Chang realizes the gap between them is unreachable. Even Shahar is stunned. His movements are razor-sharp, and his energy efficiency has reached a level of pure perfection. Jaw dropped, she questions if this kid's growth is even human. Meanwhile, the final pair of beasts unleash a terrifying, bloodthirsty aura. Suyuk remains unfazed, ghosting through every strike with ease. The former emperor shifts his weight, prepping a devastating countermaneuver. Executing the blood demon palm, his fingertips strike vital pressure points. Then the grand finale, a visceral bone-shattering blood explosion. Suyuk doesn't even spare a glance at the carnage. Suddenly, a strange realization hits him as he scans the area. Every single beast lay slaughtered by his hand alone. Suyuk chuckles awkwardly, realizing he'd hogged all the action yet again. Just like that, the grueling 2-week live combat hell concluded. Addressing the survivors, Shar acknowledges their relentless grit and determination. Aside from Team 3's notorious misfits, everyone cleared. Such a massive passing rate was practically legendary for this academy. Suyuk notes the squad's stellar synergy. Stepping forward, Shar offers her sincere praise for their outstanding achievements. They've officially shed the trainee label. With these god-tier scores, high-ranking guilds will be begging to recruit them. The elf emphasizes that their future is their own to forge. However, as their mentor, she has one final parting message. Honor isn't found in a single moment, Shar explains. True dignity lies in their readiness to face this chaotic world's battlefields. That preparation is their greatest badge of honor, she concludes, by wishing they walk paths free of regret. The lesson is over. Cheng desperately tries to suppress her overwhelming feelings, but her composure finally shatters. She lunges into her mentor's embrace, sobbing. Without the elf's guidance, she never would have pushed past her limits. Pure pride shines in Shar's eyes. She admits that training this group was a genuine privilege she'll cherish forever. Teary-eyed, a student blunders out a question about seeing her again, even shooting his shot by asking for her number. Shar pauses, flashing a radiant smile. If destiny wills it, the whispers of the wind will carry her news back to them. Cheng speaks up, voice trembling. The redhead reminds everyone of his criminal past, flashing back to their very first encounter. He recalls her saying awakening was a path to redemption. With a faint knowing smile, Shar confirms she hasn't forgotten. He confesses his heart was never noble. Through thick tears, Cheng admits his only motivation was chasing a quick payday. Heroic ideals were foreign to him. The redhead continues his raw, honest confession about his selfish nature. He could have chosen honest labor, yet he opted for the shortcut. After absorbing his words, the mood shifts. Xiaobai interjects, stating she never felt shame training beside him. The elf adds that the start of one's journey doesn't define it. He shouldn't be shackled by his past. With heavy intensity, Shar addresses him as Lang Day, commanding him to remember that name. Regretful tears are no longer needed. The burning will to protect others is where true salvation begins. She promises to keep watch over his progress. Turning to Su-hyuk, the former emperor offers a respectful nod. Fighting alongside her was a privilege, he states. Shar remains silent, offering only a firm, meaningful squeeze of his hand. She expects to meet him on the front lines. Under a pristine sky, the bittersweet farewell concludes, leaving only the paperwork. Time to finalize his official awakened registration. In Korea, power levels are strictly categorized from 1 to 13. Level 13 is reserved for a single god-tier individual. Level 12 holds 5 elites, the 6 pillars of the nation. These titans are the country's ultimate shield. Su-hyuk wonders about their strength, noting most rookies barely scrape level 1. As the orb scans his vitals, the administrator's jaw hits the floor. The former emperor registers at an unbelievable level 6. Those few who touch level 13 are hailed as the absolute pinnacle of humanity. One legendary genius hit level 4 post-training in his 20s. A guildless lone wolf who conquered impossible dungeons solo. That man is Baek Muhak, a force of nature who became an unprecedented phenomenon in South Korean history. Globally, such explosive growth is unheard of. Yet standing here now, Su-hyuk has just shattered that record. His stats completely eclipse Baek Muhak's. Stunned, the clerk begs for a moment to finalize the monumental paperwork. His hunter license is nearly ready. Meanwhile, Su-hyuk muses that Earth's potential far exceeds his initial calculations. This world's awakened are surprisingly formidable. However, a crucial piece of information resurfaces in his mind. The Dimensional Alliance ranked human potential as mid-tier, with elves sitting just a few steps above them. The Celestials commanding the Heavenly Realm Alliance claimed the prestigious rank of level 1. Their arch-nemeses are the demons, sparking a grim thought: could humanity eventually clash with those hellish entities? Soo-hyuk brushes the thought aside. These rankings are merely celestial standards, and he knows Earth is evolving rapidly. This planet's growth speed defies logic, outstripping entire continents. Breaking through limits here is actually possible. The shackles of fate don't apply here. Finally, his license is issued one bracelet sync away from official status. The device snaps onto his wrist, instantly erupting in a brilliant glow. Soo-hyuk watches, captivated by the raw magical energy. It is an artifact forged by dwarves and imbued by elven spirits. Even the former emperor finds the craftsmanship breathtaking. Suddenly, a mysterious voice echoes from behind. Soo-hyuk spins around to find a flamboyant figure with hair as red as fire. Clad in a neon-bright suit, the stranger earns a skeptical look from Soo-hyuk. With a polite bow, the man begins his introduction. He reveals a gleaming golden bracelet on his arm, projecting a high-tech data screen. But one detail leaves Soo-hyuk completely stunned. This man is a legendary rank 11. Shenwu invites him to a private room to discuss a potential deal. Smooth jazz fills the air of the lush suite. Shenwu tells him to relax, promising a reward beyond his imagination. But Soo-hyuk refuses to lower his guard. The redhead hums along to the beat, looking completely at ease in the tension. To the emperor, this man is pure chaos. Shenwu activates a strange device waiting for the core to heat up. The machine glows like dying embers. Shenwu claims he brought it because the autumn air has a bitter chill. He claims to be incredibly sensitive to the cold. Soo-hyuk finds it bizarre to use a heavy heater in mid-October. At last, the steaming brew is finished. The redhead pours a cup, urging Soo-hyuk to take a sip of the rare blend. Shenwu brags that foreigners find it addictive. Soo-hyuk accepts the drink with a stoic, modest nod of his head. He mentions he hates making his staff fetch coffee, as they are already buried under mountains of important work. Growing impatient, the former emperor cuts through the pleasantries. He demands to know the real reason for this meeting. Shenwu smirks, liking the directness. He asks the million-dollar question: will Soo-hyuk finally join the elite awakened association? Soo-hyuk shuts him down instantly with a cold refusal. Even the high-ranking official is taken aback by such a blunt rejection. He never expected an aspiring hunter to turn his back on the most powerful organization in the entire world. Before more questions fly, Soo-hyuk declares he will never join a guild. Shenwu wonders if he follows a shaman path. It was a predictable question for the emperor. He makes it crystal clear that he has zero plans of ever leaving. This thrills the redhead, who claims to share that same patriotism. He is impressed by Soo-hyuk's sharp wit after his coma. He asks about his ultimate goal, offering to grant any wish. If it is within his power, he will make it happen. Soo-hyuk exits the suite, hoping his answers sufficed. He wonders if he managed to plant the right seeds for the future. His thoughts drift to Yoon and Chang-hyuk. Suddenly, a notification pings on his phone, delivering a massive shock to his system. Both of his allies have ascended to rank 3. A small smile plays on Soo-hyuk's lips. Their legendary journey is beginning. He taps out a quick message of congratulations. Even while distracted by his screen, his senses are tuned to the surroundings. Something feels dangerously off in the atmosphere. A strange, ominous presence begins to warp the very fabric of reality nearby. An eerie light fractures the sky. Soo-hyuk sprints toward the disturbance as a panicked crowd begins to gather at the scene. Terror grips the citizens as a massive portal tears open. Emergency broadcasts scream for everyone to evacuate to Shinchan Station immediately. An official warning echoes through the streets. Soo-hyuk stares at the rift, realizing it is a deadly rank 5 threat. Guards scramble to move the civilians to safety. But tragedy strikes, as over 10 people are pulled into the void. The officer begs for calm, promising the hunters are coming. Yet the desperate crowd refuses to back away from the danger. Arguments break out over the rescue delay. They fear the missing people will be slaughtered before help ever arrives on site. Soo-hyuk steps forward, questioning why no one is moving. The hunters sneer, demanding to know who this arrogant stranger is. They warn him to back off or get hurt. In response, Soo-hyuk flashes his glowing bracelet, silencing the entire group instantly. A woman demands to know his rank. Kim Yuman, a rank 3 guardian, asks if he plans to dive in alone. Soo-hyuk calmly notes that guardians are legally authorized to enter during emergencies. Yuman can only nod in begrudging agreement. The former emperor stares him down, asking if this crisis does not qualify. The tension between them becomes thick and heavy. Yuman scoffs, unable to fathom why an awakened would throw their life away for mere commoners. He views them as insects. With sickening arrogance, he claims they are the chosen ones. If regular people die, he believes it is simply their fate. Soo-hyuk is disgusted by his cold words. But Yuman just shrugs, insisting that he is only stating the harsh reality. He argues that they are superior beings. He mocks Soo-hyuk for playing the hero and having a pathetic sense of justice. The guardian laughs, claiming the former emperor is throwing his life away for nothing. His words are dripping with pure venom. Soo-hyuk's eyes turn cold. He wonders how someone with such power can hide like a coward, while others are suffering. He asks if such a man even deserves the title of awakened. You should be utterly ashamed of your pathetic weakness. With billions on the line, he won't waste a second. He brushes past the redhead. His aura leaves her stunned. Meanwhile, Yuman screams about the illegality of solo raiding. Reporting him to the association, Soo-hyuk just scoffs at the coward's empty threats. Go be a good son, he retorts. Without looking back, he vanishes into the gate. Yuman fumes as his ego shatters. The redhead spits out a curse wishing him death. He shrugs it off. Behind him, Yumin warns Hunter Heyman of their certain doom. You'll be wiped out, Heyman scoffs, refusing to cry like a lost toddler. Watching civilians die isn't an option. The crew follows his lead, hearts steeled. They plunge into the abyss. Left behind, Yuman's mind explodes with pure rage. Deep in a twisted forest, a lone man trembles. Terror grips his very soul. The realization hits, he's trapped inside. Panic surges as he scrambles to his feet. Death isn't an option. He prays for his family, clutching onto his insurance thoughts. A vine snares his foot. He eats dirt, gasping for air as he struggles. Predator plants emerge hungry for flesh. A tentacle coils around his leg like a snake. Death's maw opens wide. He shrieks for a savior, his voice cracking with desperation. Through the leaves, a silhouette appears, a glimmer of hope amidst the green hell. And awakened, he begs for mercy. The beast, Athel, pauses its lethal feast. 2 meters of lethal vines. Soo-hyuk eyes the monster, wishing for cold steel. Bare-handed against this, it's a massive disadvantage he wasn't planning on today. The former emperor strikes wind kick, and piercing force shatter the plant's core. Efficiency is key. He pivots into a receding wind kick to harvest the beast. Vanishing Gale activates. With a thunderous boom, he pulverizes the monster into dust. The survivor watches paralyzed by awe. This man's power is truly godlike. You're safe now. Soo-hyuk's voice is steady. The man weeps in pure gratitude. Finally, the Guardians arrive. Tiamin rushes forward, checking for signs of life. A solo kill on an Athel, the swordsman's jaw drops at Soo-hyuk's feet. No time to waste. He leaves the survivor with them hunting for more souls. Take this. Tiamin tosses him a sword. The weight feels perfect in his hand. He storms into the woods. His senses flare. Multiple presences are scattered ahead. 20 lives at stake. Only one saved. The odds are stacked against them. The unifier of Wan won't stop. He must shatter the portal's core tonight. Target Cosmo Energy. Destroy the heart and the gate collapses forever. One wrong move against the boss, and this entire dimension turns to dust. Rescue first, kill later. The survivors are the priority before the final clash. The blade finally sings. It's been ages since he truly wielded steel like this. Steel flashes. The Athel's tentacles are sliced into ribbons in a single heartbeat. Level up. His soul resonates with the blade. Sword and body become one. Chi flow peaks at 50%. Cutting power skyrockets to grade 1 levels. Emerging from the thicket, he meets the Guardians hauling the rescued civilians. Stay put, he commands. Tiamin's eyes widen. Can he really handle this alone? The world is small, he smirks. He promises to bring every last survivor back. One meeting point isn't enough. They need a strategy to cover more ground. Communication is key. Tiamin syncs the location data to his mana-infused bracelet. A live courier feed, perfect. The map lights up with the remaining survivors. This tech is surprisingly handy. Tiamin bows, regretting his lack of strength. Since Guardians aren't built for the front lines, the former Emperor insists their support alone is more than he could ask for. Guided by the Guardian, Soo-hyuk hacks through the woods, his sword slicing a trail with effortless, lethal precision. The mission proceeds without a hitch. As he uncovers more survivors, he uses the courier team to bridge the gap. 22 souls are finally safe. Now the former Emperor can finally drop the baggage and focus entirely on the fight. Only the world's Cosmo Energy remains. Massive 3-meter-tall tentacles writhe in the air, poised to strike at any second. Tagging Atel as the final boss, Soo-hyuk aims for an instant kill. The former Emperor lunges, throwing the first blow. It's a dud. Those massive tentacles aren't just for show, they're indestructible. He barely weaves through Adel's counterswipe. Standard swordplay won't cut it. This boss is built different. There's one trump card left, but he absolutely despises it. Desperate times right, Soo-hyuk begins flooding his blade with raw, concentrated energy, ready to unleash hell on his foe. It's the soul-stealing demon sword, a forbidden art that eclipses high-level skills but devours the user's very willpower as fuel. Mastering this insane power means surviving the crushing weight of its sheer malice. If he slips, his soul is forfeit. It's his only shot. Clad in swirling dark energy, he charges the Titan. It's just him versus the beast now. He triggers the ultimate move, Soul Reaving Slash. The monster takes the full terrifying brunt of that spectral energy head-on. The gamble pays off. The creature reels. And just like that, the former Emperor experiences another explosive level up. Thanks to his iron will, he shrugs off the mental rot. A system notification pings the new skill is officially his. He's gained advanced corruption immunity. His mind is cleansed and his mastery over the soul-stealing demon sword technique skyrockets. He nabs the Minor Destroyer title. Even for the former emperor, this unexpected reward is a total shocker. Outside, the Guardians are stressed. Soo-hyuk is overdue and their anxiety starts hitting the ceiling. Finally, a silhouette emerges. It's Soo-hyuk looking perfectly fine. Taehyun and the crew sprint toward the former emperor in relief. They were sweating buckets, but Soo-hyuk just shrugs it off and praises the sword. Apparently, it's a top-tier masterpiece. Grinning Taehyun admits he dropped his whole bank account to have dwarves forge that blade. He's hyped Soo-hyuk actually likes it. Just as he's bouncing rank 7, Hunter Kim Inkyu, the KR Guild's big boss, calls out to him. Inkyu offers a team-up to crush the portal, which catches Soo-hyuk off guard. Suddenly, a guildie frantically signals the president. They look where he's pointing. The portal is gone. Everyone is absolutely floored. He solo cleared a rank 5 gate. That's insane. To them, he's the real monster here. Soo-hyuk just casually walks past. He carries himself with the aura of a god, which absolutely triggers human. Watching him get hero treatment is infuriating. Visibly annoyed, the redhead human barks that despite the good deed breaking the law still demands a heavy price. Human demands to know why he ignored protocol by entering solo. Soo-hyuk just scoffs at the guy's twisted, petty logic. He tries to drag Soo-hyuk's name through the mud, arguing that technically he had help, yet he keeps complaining. Human snarls that the bastard never intended to play by the rules. But Tiamat has officially run out of patience. Tiamat snaps that talking is a waste of breath. Meanwhile, the redhead starts a scene screaming about the illegal solo entry. He claims Soo-hyuk ignored every warning and treated the association like a joke. The crowd starts wondering what his deal is. You'd think Human would show some gratitude, but no. People in the crowd are buzzing, asking, who is this guy? They're all asking who this clown making a scene is. Is he really representing the association with that trashy attitude? The Guardian's blood is boiling. Human declares it's time to show this illegal awakened what real consequences look like. He aggressively grabs Soo-hyuk's collar. Human spews threats, but the former emperor looks bored like the guy is a bug. Seething Human dares him to throw a punch, promising to tack it onto his growing list of criminal charges. He's dead set on dragging him to prison personally. Soo-hyuk's response, a lightning-fast, brutal gut punch that shuts him up. The bully is completely blindsided, collapsing to the floor in agony. But before Soo-hyuk can finish the job, a new figure blocks his path. Inkyu snaps that Human should be thanking the man who saved everyone's lives today. He lectures him on what it truly means to be awakened. Human's rage peaks as he demands to know who's talking. It's the KR Guild president. Human instantly folds, bowing as everyone's eyes suddenly shift toward another major presence. Shinwoo appears, revealing he's heard everything. He steps forward and calmly introduces himself to the group. Meet the vice president of the Awakened Association. He immediately apologizes for the organization's failure to respond in time. He vows that this mess won't happen again. Shinwoo then urges anyone feeling off to speak up immediately for help. They're free to visit any association-linked hospital, as every cent of the medical bill is fully covered. An elderly woman trembles, admitting they'd be dead meat if that awakened one hadn't stepped in. She begs them not to punish him. Through tears, the first survivor cries that, without their savior, he'd never see his family again. When they plead for the ex-emperor's mercy, Shimu tells them to chill, because that won't happen. He then signals Soo-hyuk to verify his license, which he does by tapping his bracelet. The display flashes his solo player status, a rare permit for entering portals alone. Even the ex-emperor looks stunned. Assuming his earlier request worked, Shimu gently clarifies that Soo-hyuk already had clearance to dive solo. Plus, since he saved lives, he's earned a hero's bounty. The official calls for a huge cheer for young Soo-hyuk. Everyone claps. Thanks to the vice president, the portal crisis ended. Kim Yuman slapped with a 3-month license ban and 6 months of brutal frontline duty. Soo-hyuk's hunter rank hits level 8 plus 20 million won in prize money. Shimu admits the association's budget is bleeding, so that's the most they can offer Soo-hyuk right now. Soo-hyuk brushes it off, requesting only one thing, total anonymity from the press regarding the catastrophe. The vice president agrees, promising a media blackout. Back home, Soo-hyuk finally collapses onto his bed. Resting up, he examines a monostone worth 80 million won, and he's got 2 of them. Taemin had salvaged them for him. Since Soo-hyuk was busy saving lives, this loot is a massive jackpot. Altogether, his heroism earned him 180 million won, netting 160 after taxes. His total savings now hit 200 million. He leveled up his bank account in a day and wants more. His goal, a loan for an apartment. Home ownership was always his family's dream. He checks his level 18. Other stats spiked too, revealing fresh data. He toggles the simplified UI, then spots a title, Lesser Destroyer. Tapping the screen, he learns his stats buff by 5% when entering a dimension solo. Notification windows explode. Countless demonic arts and spell-based techniques are now at his fingertips. Back in Huander, spiritual and illusion arts were nightmares, but he had solid resistance built up. Earth requires the harmonization stage for that immunity. Luckily, he just unlocked it as a skill bonus. If he hits harmonization and bolsters his mental fortress, he'll be untouchable by illusions. Suddenly, his sister bursts in, demanding to know what her big brother is up to. Sora catches him talking to himself again, but Suhyuk quickly plays it off as nothing. She's suspicious, though. While cutting fruit, she catches a news report about the Sinchan Station portal. Sora points at the screen, and Suhyuk puts on his best, totally surprised face. The vice president definitely kept his promise. Then something else catches Sora's sharp eyes. His bracelet is flashing a signal. He hides it instantly, waiting for a better time to come clean. He wanted to keep the portal drama a secret, but Sora grabs his arm, forcing his hand. She knew it. Now she has proof he's an awakened, and honestly, she's a little ticked off. She reminds him he was just in the hospital, but Suhyuk insists that was the whole point. Sora recognizes the bracelet. It marks him as rank 6 or higher. He's been hiding this. She accuses him of being a long-time awakened. Plus, the ex-emperor thinks his talent will reach gold soon. His sister isn't buying his excuses. She asks if he really thinks words can fix this lie. The news shifts back to the portal, mentioning a rising star who saved the day. The association is keeping his identity classified, protecting the mysterious hero. They're calling him the next Universal 8. Sora looks at him, asking if he's the guy. He caves and confirms it. The news then reveals his power level is actually Class 8. The vice president praises his strength and justice. Meanwhile, Sora is just reeling from that rank. A survivor tearfully describes how he'd given up hope until the hero appeared. He hadn't believed in heroes since childhood, but now, he knows they're real. Suhyuk stays humble, feeling he just did what any other awakened would do. The world is buzzing with talk of hope, humanity, and Korea's absolute unit of a hero. Media outlets can't stop talking about this divine class awakened, who chose to stay in the shadows. Everyone respects his privacy. On the phone, Shinwoo tells him to soak in the victory. Shinwoo admits he's a massive fanboy. He'd even start a fan club if he weren't vice president. Suhyuk jokingly asks if he's a secret hater. Shinwoo just calls himself a man of mystery. Truth out, they form a pact. Rule number 1, keep the parents totally in the dark. They'd faint from shock. Rule 2, grind to gold rank as fast as possible. He needs to tackle elite rank 9 missions for security clearance. Rule 3, no reckless moves. Sora knows she can't stop him now, so Suhyuk agrees to play by her rules. One hurdle down. Heading to a convenience store, he worries about his fame growing. Exposure feels inevitable. He needs to lay low, even if the secrecy feels a bit cringe. It's better than the alternative. Doubts linger, and some are starting to suspect the truth. Just another fiction woven by the association. On the Huan continent, this was his daily reality. Infamy, it followed him everywhere. Suhyuk obliterates another rift. Within a month, he has soloed 20 gates. Foul ichor stains his knuckles. Luckily, his carnage remains classified. Yet he knows a masked phantom is haunting the portal network. Anonymity was a pipe dream. His legendary feats drew every eye toward the mysterious nameless powerhouse. Inside Bakdusan Guild, President Yehyuk Tae is nursing a massive migraine over these reports. He tosses the files, barking at his subordinate to stop the annoying finger tapping. The long-haired man just scoffs. Watching that restless energy, Saewol doubts this guy should lead the nation's powerhouse guild. He mocks the president, suggesting that if he is so thirsty for answers, he should hunt the guy down. Hyuk Tae is hyped. Sitting around is torture. He is betting a direct approach will force the ghost to talk. He won't be ignored. Suddenly, his boots freeze to the floor. Hyung yelps, cursing the sudden ice trap. Saewol kills the vibe warning against acting like a lunatic. They have already spammed the guy with ignored pings. Silence means the masked warrior has zero interest. Hyung growls. Are we just gonna let him vanish? Letting him escape. How much longer will they dance to Bakdusan's tune? His patience is totally fried. Rival guilds are already circling like sharks. Meanwhile, Saewol suspects this nameless ghost is actually Suhyuk. Specs chimes in, Suhyuk or not, this guy is cracked. The long-haired man slams the desk for a plan. Saewol recalls Suhyuk being a total loner during training, ghosting every single recruitment call from the elites. Pressuring an ex-emperor is an amateur move. At this rate, he will never sign with any guild. He drops the wildcard Seola. The name hits Hyung like a physical blow. She was his mentor. Despite her icy denials, Saewol knows their connection runs deeper than they admit. She is not even human, you cannot sway her, the man yells. Saewol smirks that is not the play here. Suhyuk was not her only student. He has checked the logs. Their contact history is proof of a hidden bond. Their names are linked. Hyung spots Yun, the only one who actually considered their guild's offer. Beside his family, she is his only tether. Saewol asks, is she the bridge we need to cross? The long-haired man agrees. Specs makes the call. We sign her to Bakdusan immediately. She is the ultimate leverage. Hyung wonders if this finally opens a direct line to the nameless king. The trap is set. Hyung grins, calling him a vile, manipulative genius for such a dirty scheme. Se-Wolf flashes a predatory smirk. You love it, do you not? Hyung demands they move right now. Deep inside a fresh rift, Soo-hyuk prepares to stack more cash. Zero hesitation, strictly business. He begins the massacre. His target, a colossal mantis capable of freezing the very flow of time. A true test for our masked warrior. He unleashes the iron-crushing palm's ultimate single-thought-crushing darkness. The shockwave levels, the cavern shattering the beast. Soo-hyuk stands amidst the ruins, surveying the absolute carnage. Level up achieved. His mastery of the rank A iron-crushing palm has finally reached its peak. The former emperor is far from finished. He needs more power, so the grind continues without pause. He harvests the remains, scoring a rare monostone. Most of the carcass is just useless trash. He hacks off the scythe's rare materials that top-tier crafters would literally kill to obtain. One set pulls 10 million won. Combine that with the stone, and he is looking at a massive payday. 50 million won easy. Suddenly he freezes. An eerie pulsing stone manifests directly in his path. Hostile cosmic energy radiates from the rock. If he ignores this, the body count will be massive. Thousands would die. Fortunately, Soo-hyuk is not the type to walk away from a potential disaster. He hurls his dagger. The blade bites deep, spiderwebbing the cosmic stone with glowing cracks. The core shatters as ancient power bleeds out. Bags packed with loot, it is time to bounce. Our masked hero mounts his quad, pinning the throttle. He needs to escape before this world collapses. Soo-hyuk guns it. The exit light blazes ahead, and he bursts through the shimmering threshold. Loaded with spoils, he emerges to a stunned crowd. They already knew the dungeon was cleared perfectly. Standard procedure for the nameless hero. His new quad is a literal moneymaker. Gear is everything here. Tailor-made for solo grinding, this dwarven masterpiece boasts god-tier durability that won't ever snap. It even packs a massive storage enchantment. For Soo-hyuk, 800 million won was a total steal. Cashing out with heavy pockets, our hero keeps moving. Soo-hyuk checks in from outside the association building. He reports a haul of mantis limbs and monostones, requesting a cleanup crew. Seizing the call. The former emperor hunts for rank 6 or 7 portals, but those are strictly reserved for guilds. He requests smaller rifts, but the staff urges him to chill after his non-stop work marathon. Soo-hyuk says he'll consider it. He brushes off a coffee invite, saving that meeting for another day. They promise to process his loot quickly. Still, this portal drought is a massive headache for him. He needs rank 9 before finally coming clean to his folks. Suddenly, a new notification pings. His sister begs for an update, demanding he retreat if things get dicey. He explains everything clearly. Soo-hyuk then spots desperate messages from Ah-yeon. The girl is officially joining the elite Baekdu guild. The former hero sends his congrats and asks about the party. With business settled, his stomach growls. He ducks into a nearby joint. Since it is way before the lunch rush, he eats in peace. He overhears staff gossiping about the nameless hero visiting. They are buzzing about the mysterious masked player. They're shocked he secured mantis legs and mana stones. One salty employee rants about his VIP treatment, but his partner claps back, insisting the hero's results earned every bit of that special respect. Losing a talent like him is unthinkable. In other countries, the media would have already hounded him. The man yields, admitting the masked rookie has Baek Muhak level potential. Losing him would be a disaster. Soo-hyuk perks up when they mention the Trannon dimension, a notorious restricted zone where explorers find nothing. Even with his past life, Soo-hyuk knows, conquering that void solo is basically a suicide mission. The eerie silence surrounding the zone is sus. The duo leaks news about a secret association collab. They mention a stunning new instructor before dropping a wild rumor about Elvenheim's latest magic tech. Word is they've forged an artifact capable of compressing an entire cosmic location into a small island. Soo-hyuk isn't waiting around. He settles the tab just as they mention a massive hunter recruitment drive. That definitely piques his interest. Since gates are locked down, hunting jobs have totally dried up lately. He realizes the Trannon dimension is too big alone. This recruitment might be his golden ticket in. Moving fast, he dials the vice president to secure a spot, but the man is totally swamped. Soo-hyuk needs to outmaneuver the big guilds. Suddenly, a voice mocks him, calling him straight up arrogant. With power like yours, you've earned the ego, the stranger remarks. The one-eyed man knows him. Addressing him as no name, the veteran skips the pleasantries. He is here to get straight to business. He tests the kid, asking if he knows why he's there. Meet Park Mugi, a very dangerous man. Soo-hyuk fires back that Mugi lacks talent too. He warns the veteran that strength isn't everything here. Mugi's grin turns predatory as his aura flares. Fine, he growls, let's see some real strength then. He manifests a terrifying energy dragon, launching a devastating blast straight at our hero. Soo-hyuk watches. Narrowly avoiding the beast's maw, Soo-hyuk analyzes the threat. This shadow, Esper magic, is insanely fast. The shadow construct relentlessly hunts him, forcing Soo-hyuk to redline his reflexes. This won't be easy. Mugi chuckles at the dodge, mocking Soo-hyuk as nothing more than a slippery eel delaying the inevitable. That insult stings his pride. Back in Huan, this old man couldn't have touched his sleeve. The former emperor charges head-on. Despite the swarm of energy dragons, he dances through the chaos. He is a total blur, leaving the dragons biting thin air. The kid is incredibly impressive. This just got interesting. Mugi unleashes a fresh wave of destruction, but Soo-hyuk spots his chance. While the veteran focuses on a decoy, he tries to read the play, but no name is faster. Soo-hyuk realizes that despite the Esper flash, it is still fire, and fire needs oxygen to breathe. Using wind cleave and a receding wind kick, he snuffs the flames, annoying the skilled veteran. Only 2 months post-awakening, and Soo-hyuk has already closed the distance, standing right in his face. Primal energy erupts through his veins. He prepares his next move, the Shaolin secret art, the legendary 100-step divine fist. Mugi desperately braces against the devastating shockwave. His flickering embers are no match for the strike, extinguished in an instant. His eyes snap open to find Soo-hyuk targeting his vitals. The former emperor coldly points out the exact pressure point. One more strike means instant death. Mugi is left reeling, desperate to decode this impossible lethal technique. He finally realizes it's a terrifying physical buff. Soo-hyuk shrugs, wondering why this old geezer even tracked him down. He hopes their paths never cross again, especially since his beef with the guild is already legendary. He drops a final warning: next time he won't leave survivors. Mugi counters, does he know the Universal 8 has him marked? Those monsters aren't exactly friendly. Desperate, the old man begs him to join, knowing even a god can't survive them solo. Flying solo is a total death sentence. No Name's icy silence infuriates him. Eventually, deep within a deserted alleyway, crimson droplets splatter the pavement. Soo-hyuk's insides churn in agony. It seems he finally pushed his body past its breaking point. He needs to accelerate his timeline stat. He just survived a clash with a rare rank 12 awakened from Korea. A direct confrontation would have been game over. Still, zero regrets. At least he humbled that arrogant prick. His real nightmare is the Universal 8. They make Mugi look like a total warm-up. He needs more raw power to survive them. Meanwhile, at the international airport, a mysterious figure commands the terminal. An elite security detail trails him. With an idol's dazzling smile, Vladimir is welcomed by his personal butler. He nods to Kimon, who signals the waiting limo. All eyes are glued to the charismatic newcomer. Spectators whisper, mistaking him for a famous actor. Kimon notes that an earlier heads-up would have cleared the path. They could have dodged this public chaos. Vladimir simply shrugs. This urgent trip was a surprise even for him. The butler sighs. A warning would have been nice. They slip into a sleek limo to begin their journey. Vladimir demands intel on No Name. The butler reveals he woke from a coma just a few months ago. His explosive growth is terrifyingly abnormal. The blonde asks about his age, curious about this mysterious rising star. The masked hero is only 27. Vladimir smirks. This enigma is exactly why he's here. Things just got interesting. He inquires about Baek's release date. Kimon reports it might be next week, and urges a bit more patience. Vladimir hates waiting. He grumbles that the training-obsessed lunatic hasn't changed one bit after all these years. That psycho is still the same. The driver visibly trembles, clearly unsettled by the blonde's heavy presence. Meet Vladimir, the Blood Prince and Night Ruler, Russia's most terrifying and legendary superhero. As a member of the elite Universal 8, his arrogance is legendary. Suddenly, Vladimir senses a shift. He taunts the driver, upset about hearing his boss trashed. Kimon desperately tries to de-escalate the tension. He's just a kid, Kimon pleads. Andre scoffs. The bastard locked himself away, so I had to come. He zeroes in on the boy again, asking with a sharp edge if he has a problem with him. The driver stammers a denial. The blonde leans in close, whispering for him to relax and force a smile. Kimon vows to teach the driver his place. Andre laughs, reminiscing about knowing Baek since his bratty childhood days. He sneers, asking if this dog really thinks he has the right to talk back to a king. The driver begs him to stop insulting his master. A demonic grin spreads as Andre's aura turns lethal. Did you really just say that? Vladimir hisses. Terror consumes the driver. It's like facing a hungry beast. Paralysis sets in. Sensing his life flickering out, the driver desperately pleads for his very soul. The crushing pressure vanishes instantly. Kimon checks on him, but the man is a total shaking wreck. He truly believed death had arrived. Kimon watches him closely, knowing the man's spirit is completely broken. He calls for a brief stop. Andre mocks the driver's pathetic expression, telling him to lighten up. Life is too short for depression, he jokes. Another sunrise breaks over the horizon as a new day begins. Soo-hyuk's wounds from the Mugi clash are still raw. One reckless move could cause his internal organs to collapse. Agony would spread like venom, barring him from portals. Full recovery is now his only priority. His mom pops in looking confused. Her daily jogging son is actually chilling at home for once. It's her day off, and Dad suddenly appears with a plan for a rare family field trip. To their shock, Soo-hyuk actually agrees. He asks with a smile, "Is everyone taking the day off then?" The trio nods in perfect sync, leaving the former sovereign completely speechless. He grumbles about being left out of the loop, wishing they'd dropped a hint sooner. Pops quips that a jobless dude like him is always free, but Soo-hyuk mysteriously counters that even the unemployed stay busy. His father points out those suspicious late-night returns despite Soo-hyuk's claims of just training. Sensing a secret, Mom steps in, declaring that kids deserve their own space. Privacy is key, she insists, though her all-knowing vibe makes Soo-hyuk feel totally exposed. Dad's just looking out for him, while Mom warns that rotting at home isn't healthy. Regardless, the plan stands a Han River, escape a movie, and some fire food. The little sis beams with joy. It's been ages since a real family outing. Soo-hyuk promises Mom a break from the kitchen, sparking her curiosity as the former ruler fumbles for words. She won't lift a finger today. He suggests packing some bento boxes for their park adventure. Sis's eyes sparkle like diamonds, as they both beg Dad to take charge of the snacks. Soo-hyuk knows Pops is a culinary beast. He acts shocked, playing along with the sudden request. Dad gears up to flex his chef skills, banishing everyone to the TV while he dominates the stove. His knife work is legendary, dicing onions before expertly seasoning the mix with a pinch of salt. His daughter teases his newfound swagger while Mom laughs, noting his sudden burst of culinary inspiration. Breakfast is served golden omurice Soo-hyuk, and Mom's eyes light up at the delicious sight. Dad slides a plate over, but the mountain of food looks overkill even for a former emperor. Pops insists a hard-training warrior needs fuel, while Mom adds that his jobless status doesn't change a thing. His health is her greatest treasure. As they devour the meal, Dad notices Soo-hyuk's unusually quiet vibe. Soo-hyuk mumbles praise. It's been an eternity since he felt this kind of soul-warming comfort. This humble home feels perfect, yet he can't shake the heavy thoughts weighing on his mind. Is now the moment to drop the bombshell? Dad notices his untouched plate and asks what's up. Setting his spoon down, Soo-hyuk drops his gaze. He admits there's something they need to know. Before the words escape, his sister shoots him, a look not now, bro. The truth might shatter them. They'd feel like they lost the son who just returned from the brink. With 500 million won banked, a new apartment is within reach if he plays his cards right. However, Universal 8 is lurking. To crush them, he needs overwhelming power and massive stacks of cash. It's a perfect day for a drive, but the old car's rattling reminds him how badly they need an upgrade. Buying a new whip becomes the goal, as Soo-hyuk eyes the flashy Awakener ads nearby. A massive poster looms overhead, and his sis admits that being a superstar, Awakener looks pretty lit. Casualties are dropping, and the public treats these heroes like straight-up A-list celebrities. Soo-hyuk scoffs. If it were that easy, they wouldn't have struggled. Mom adds, she hates the idea of blood-stained hands. She values peace over blood-soaked riches. His sister cracks a joke to lighten the heavy mood, asking if having a gorgeous daughter tops the list. The family journeys on, soaking in these rare moments. Peace at last. Soo-hyuk honestly can't recall the last time life felt this serene. Munching on Dad's treats, he mourns the years stolen while he was stuck in that other realm. He'll do whatever it takes. Using his god-tier powers, he'll ensure his family's happiness is absolute. Mom worries about the cost, but the former sovereign insists Sis got the tickets so he's buying dinner. She questions where a jobless guy gets such cash, but Soo-hyuk just gives her a reassuring wink. He promises a new job is coming. Dad wonders if he's rushing things so soon after his recovery. Soo-hyuk flashes a grin, insisting he's fully recharged. Mom's heart melts, seeing him try so hard for them. She begs him to speak up if things get tough. As the sun sets, the day nears its end. Dad catches him sighing and asks what's wrong. Soo-hyuk admits the day is slipping away far too quickly. Does Pops feel it too? Mom teases that he's becoming a mini-dad, and that's the real tragedy here. She is totally over all the drama queens. But wait, where's Ah-rin? Someone mentions she slipped away to the restroom. Soo-hyuk steps up to track her down. He scours the halls, eyes peeled for any sign of his sister. Nearby, a sharp slap rings out. A total mean girl sneers, barking that a peasant shouldn't even be here. The bully mutters that Ah-rin is a pathetic loser. Big mistake. Ah-rin's eyes flare with rage as she lunges forward. Think you're special, the bully hisses. She swings for another hit, but a hand suddenly locks onto her wrist. The girl freezes. Soo-hyuk is standing there looking absolutely lethal. He mocks her look, calling it a trashy disguise. Pissed, she demands to know who this guy is. Soo-hyuk simply claims his title as Ah-rin's brother. Ah-rin tells him to back off, but he's not having it. No way he stays chill while his sister is targeted. His gaze sharpens as he spots a mark. The former emperor realizes his sister was struck. He scoffs at her tacky style. She looks like a budget monster in that outfit. A terrifying aura erupts from him, making the girl tremble in fear. She shrieks, calling him a creep, and demanding he let go. The bully Ah-rin blinks in total confusion, only to realize he's already let go. Soo-hyuk laughs, asking if she's lost her mind, which sends her into a fury. She screams if he's playing games. Soo-hyuk plans to get the full story later, but right now, he warns Ah-rin to walk away while she still can. She just sneers, wondering what a homeless nobody could possibly do. Poverty isn't a sin, he notes. But Aaron insists it is, since the rich rule the world and the poor suffer. That's just how society works, she brags. She mocks his humble roots, calling him clueless and pathetic. She ridicules his sister for being a punching bag. Their family is so broke they can barely afford a dumpy apartment. She demands he drop to his knees and beg. Soo-hyuk just tilts his head, asking if that's really it. He stares her down. Sure, she has cash, but to him she's just an insecure brat, craving attention. All those designer labels are just hiding a massive inferiority complex. The more she wears, the cheaper she looks. The clothes aren't the issue, it's you, he spits. Enraged Aaron swings her expensive handbag at his head. He snatches it mid-air without effort. She shrieks for it back, bragging about how many thousands it cost. She vows to kill him if there's a single scratch. Soo-hyuk just smirks if she loved it that much. Maybe she shouldn't have used it as a weapon. She scoffs, claiming he couldn't afford it in a lifetime. He tells her she's the one acting like trash. Then with zero hesitation, he shreds the luxury bag to pieces. Her belongings scatter across the floor. Aaron goes pale, looking like her soul just exited her body. Welcome to reality, he smiles. Aaron spirals into a total panic, staring at the leather ruins. She can't believe he actually did it. She orders her squad to end him, but he dances around them effortlessly. Soo-hyuk scoops up his sister to keep her safe. He retreats with ease, looking like a total pro. Watching his moves, Aaron doubts he's even an awakened. Meanwhile, Soo-hyuk swipes her phone right out of her hand. He checks the footage. The screen shows the whole group mocking them, pure evidence of their bullying. Suddenly, a sphere of dark energy streaks toward him. The former emperor doesn't blink, catching it with one hand. He crushes the projectile and lets it fall. Nice bodyguard, he chuckles. Too bad I still have your phone. He knows she's from a prestige family. He wonders aloud how her parents would feel if this video went viral. This is her one and only warning. She better be grateful he's only taking the bag today. The bag was a mercy. He drops a chilling truth if he wanted to. They'd all be history right now. The mean girls bolt in terror. Later, as the siblings catch their breath, Soo-hyuk sighs. He hates letting his dark side show. His sister explains they've been rivals for 3 straight years. It's a classic feud. Things spiraled once Aaron's dad hit it big, and her ego went into overdrive. As he digs for details, his sister admits the rivalry was brutal. He notes she's got a brother too. He's a top-tier awakened and a scholar. She wonders why he's being so dramatic about it now. The former emperor just shrugs. It was a high-stakes emotional peak after all. She shrugs it off. Aaron is clearly just jealous that Soo-hyuk has way more main character energy. But there's a juicier secret. She reveals that back in their second year, things got complicated. The guy Aaron crushed on actually rejected her to confess to Soo-hyuk. Talk about an awkward love triangle. Soo-hyuk flinches, claiming her rejection was obvious. She has zero bandwidth for romance right now. With a brother in a coma and a sick mom, she mocked Han Arin as payback. The ex-emperor mumbles. He should have snatched her hair out. He skipped destroying the bag, but his sister says that was plenty. She beams at her appa, calling him absolutely legendary. Soo-hyuk tells him it's just a tactical retreat before a massive power-up. Once he levels up, he can dish out some truly brutal karma. The girl stands up, suggesting they bounce, since their folks are likely waiting. It's late when the squad finally hits home, everyone buzzing from the vibes. Soo-hyuk tells them to head inside first, since he's hitting the mart for his parents' pain patches, and his sister demands a melon ice cream bar. Our awakened hero is strolling solo until a familiar sight stops him cold. It's Han Arin, flanked by 2 meathead bodyguards. Soo-hyuk notes she's early for the rematch. She barks at him to cough up the phone so she can forget the bag incident. He asks if she's still ignoring the warning signs. Arin snaps that her patience is thin, and her guards will humble him. She adds that the video hurts him too, as an awakened attacking a civilian is a massive legal nightmare. Soo-hyuk deadpans that he only touched a bag while she actually struck his sister. Fed up, Arin decides she's done talking. She orders her goons to jump him and snatch the phone. They charge in instantly. Soo-hyuk just smirks, noting they threw the first punch. If they keep coming, he's calling this self-defense. The awakened hero readies his counter, delivering a lightning-fast kick to the guard's leg. The guy freezes instantly. Soo-hyuk goes for the easy route acupressure. He strikes a few key points, making the guy howl as his body leaks fluid. The second guard is stunned, recognizing the specialized stance. He realizes Soo-hyuk isn't just some fresh rookie. He introduces himself as Kim Man-soo, admitting he thought Soo-hyuk was a scrub until he saw that black marble. Soo-hyuk scoffs at his dramatic recognition act. Irritated, the man asks if the ex-emperor seriously doesn't know his name. Soo-hyuk asks if he should care about some random hillbilly title he's so proud of. Kim Man-soo brags about being a Chung-hee Guild VP candidate, smiling as he finds Soo-hyuk actually interesting. The guard asks if one lucky win made him this arrogant, declaring that this isn't just a street fight anymore. He hurls a sphere, and Soo-hyuk tenses as the projectile whistles through the air, but he sidesteps it effortlessly. The sphere obliterates the wall behind him, proving it's a heavy iron orb. This is Muguang, the rank 10 black light sphere, who quit after losing the vice president election. He stopped climbing the ranks, but with his talent, he could have easily reached the top. Rumor says his raw destructive power even eclipses a Mugi. Kim Monsu is genuinely impressed by Soo-hyuk's reaction. He admits he thought the dodge was a fluke, but now he sees the truth. Kim Mansu identifies him the legendary masked vigilante, No Name. But then something weird happens. Mansu says he has no beef with him, making Ah-rin lose her mind. He cancels her request right then and there, because he has zero interest in fighting this monster. Mansu is just hyped to meet him despite the messy circumstances. He confesses he's been hunting for Soo-hyuk for a long time. Then he adds, "This alleyway isn't the vibe for a real talk." He promises to find him soon for a much more productive chat. Uninterested, Soo-hyuk tells him to keep dreaming. They aren't buddies. Mansu begs him not to be so cold. The ex-emperor remains stone cold, asking if he's heard of his brutal reputation. Mansu says he knows plenty, especially that blowout with the Amugi Guild. Still, Soo-hyuk isn't buying this friendly act just yet. The bodyguard tells him to relax. He's got his sources. He adds that he came to handle a minor nuisance but ended up hooking a massive whale. As for Ah-rin, she's panicking. Since her protection just became a fan club, she tries to bolt, but Soo-hyuk is a literal blur, appearing right in front of her. He whispers that erasing her from existence would be child's play, which makes the girl even more terrified. He strikes a vital point. Ah-rin collapses, clutching her throat in agonizing silence. Soo-hyuk explains, he's sealed her voice. She gestures wildly and he mocks her, asking if she's begging now. He could make her suffer forever or break her bones. But the ex-emperor has a different plan. Soo-hyuk won't be her executioner, her sister will. As she trembles, he tells her to stay right there, because he's about to prove that her entire world is absolutely worthless. The girl just stays there sobbing. Even her own hired protector stays uselessly frozen in the face of danger. Miles away, in a grand estate, a powerful tycoon demands the missing footage. Head low, the guard cowers before the intimidating presence of Assemblyman Han Gi-jae. Gi-jae snarls a lethal threat. One more failure, and he's Incheon sharkbait. He fumes over the botched task while the guard can only mutter pathetic apologies. Learning Mansu vanished, the old man's fury reaches a violent boiling point. He slams the table, vowing to leash every awakener once he claims the presidency. Gi-jae leans in, asking if any other secrets were snatched from the shadows. The bodyguard admits the whispers were far too quiet to decode or capture. Calling him trash, Gi-jae kicks him out and demands a line to his daughter. Shaking the man reveals, Aruin refuses to show, sparking even more irritation. As the guard retreats, a sudden call from Kim Mansu pierces the silence. Gi-jae barks into the phone, asking why the job was left half-finished. Mansu snaps back. This wasn't some low-tier errand for him to handle. He tells Gi-jae to scout better, and brings up his massive request fee. The price is insane. Gi-jae scoffs. Is one fresh rookie really worth that much? Mansu warns that even newbies are lethal, but the tycoon remains arrogantly unimpressed. He mocks the legendary Kim, but Mansu claims this warning is a courtesy call. He drops a bombshell. The kid they're hunting is actually the legendary No Name. Realizing the terror, the Awakener warns him against making enemies with such monsters. Mansu hangs up, leaving a panicked Gi-jae to shatter his phone in dread. Gi-jae seethes at the blatant disrespect shown to a National Assembly member. Later, Soo-hyuk connects with a clearly exhausted and busy Shin-woo. The vice president confirms he's tracked the chaos involving Park Mugi. He regrets losing the one-eyed target and checks the former emperor's condition. Soo-hyuk jokes he'd be dead otherwise, then asks about the VP's request. They discuss the Trrena dimension, a realm the redhead knows all too well. Rumors say it's closing, and every major guild is fighting for entry. They want experimental magic gear that's still stuck in the testing phase. But it'll be ready early. Shin-woo declares that Korea desperately needs a savior. He suggests No Name is the perfect title for a legendary hero. Soo-hyuk weighs the hero's burden, but he's already locked in and ready. He's no saint, and never loved this world, but the path is set. They call him a hero. If that mask brings stability, he'll wear it. It's all for his family. Now only 15 days remain on the clock. Until the Trrena gates open, he must push his limits even further. Martial arts need mind, skill, and body. He's already perfected the latter too. Only the mind remains, and cultivating inner energy is a grueling, slow-burn grind. Reaching the transcendent level requires 60 long years of pure, refined energy. The natural path takes 5 years, a luxury his timeline simply doesn't allow. Unless he finds a legendary elixir, suddenly a wild plan starts to form. It just might work. Soo-hyuk heads straight for the Cosmo sales station. This interdimensional bazaar trades in rare treasures from worlds far beyond Earth. Earth's elixirs are extinct, but other dimensions are a potential goldmine. Mana potions can quickly bridge the energy gap, potentially granting 30 years of power in a flash. Soo-hyuk navigates the surreal building, passing high-priced dwarven tech and dragon skin vendors. While others hawk transformation stones, he ignores the noise, searching only for potions. Suddenly, he spots twitching ears and a feline tail, a beastkin. It is a rare sight, yet the crowd remains oblivious. He approaches instantly, piercing her stealth. The cat girl smirks, impressed her presence was caught, and beckons him over everything he seeks is right there. The former emperor freezes in shock. He hadn't uttered a single word, yet she read his intentions with terrifying precision. When the beastkin reveals the mana potion, Soo-hyuk's jaw drops. She explains that among her tribal kin, her shamanic eyes see everything. To her, it's bizarre that this mysterious boy managed to track her down first. Shaken, Soo-hyuk asks the price. The cat girl demands 300 million won. He nearly chokes, that is highway robbery. She claims it's a high-tier masterpiece, crafted by her own hands. These are ultra-rare, and she rarely ever fires up her cauldron. Wishing him luck with her final bottle, she ignores his mind-reading questions. She isn't actively trying to peek into his skull. Somehow she just senses his true nature. To her, his soul radiates a status far above his current youthful appearance. Chills run down the former emperor's spine. Could she see his previous life? Only legendary black oracles possess such terrifying insight. Ultimately, Soo-hyuk bites the bullet and drops the 300 million. Seeing his hesitation, the beastkin giggles, calling him adorable. She teases his trembling voice, making the former monarch flush deep crimson. He frantically denies it, claiming it's just the wind. Everything feels bizarre, but his curiosity wins. He asks to touch her fur. The cat girl shoots him. A judging look, is he some creep? He stammers in his own defense, claiming it just looks incredibly soft. She sighs, asking if he's ever heard of an introduction. Manners matter before petting. She introduces herself as Nae, and Soo-hyuk awkwardly offers his own name in return. Nae scoffs at weird human names but promises to remember his. She double-checks that he isn't planning anything suspicious with her fur. The former emperor quickly clears his name. To his surprise, she extends a hand. Are they actually becoming buddies now? She nods. Her friendship isn't cheap. As they touch her, fur is impossibly soft until she gives him a bone-chilling death stare. He claims he just has a major weakness for fluff. Soon Soo-hyuk is back within the safe walls of his home. Flopping onto his bed, he can't stop thinking about the beastkin's exotic beauty and their unique mystical presence. That soft texture is burned into his memory. He decides right then his next apartment definitely needs a cat. But then, now comes the moment of truth. He stares at the 300 million won potion, praying he didn't just get scammed. Usually, these are top-tier panic buttons for mages, and espers meant to instantly refuel their depleted mana reserves. It's a steep price for a single gulp, but nothing beats it for explosive internal energy growth. Time to dive in. He downs the liquid, and instantly raw power surges through his veins. This elixir isn't just hype, it's the real deal. Forget those cheap imitations. This is pure fuel. Soo-hyuk focuses, determined to absorb every single drop of this liquid gold. His martial arts evolve instantly. Purification hits 100% as his internal energy reserves double in size. Pure insanity. The heaven and earth technique syncs perfectly with his new form. Meanwhile, bone renewal finally kicks off at 1.2%. Just 3 more years of energy, and he'll hit transcendent rank. Currently, his martial god level sits at level 38. Perfect purification unlocks a legendary path. A body with 0 resistance is every martial artist's ultimate wet dream. Back on the Huan continent, this state was the mark of a superhuman. In his past life, this was impossible. Curious about the next phase of bone renewal, he checks the requirements. The system's demands are absolutely brutal. Strength, endurance. Every stat needs to break 200. To pull that off, he'd need to reach at least level 180. It's a mountain to climb, but he's got the grind set ready. One step at a time, he'll conquer this trial. 15 days of intense training fly by. Soo-hyuk guns his ATV, racing toward the destiny that awaits him today. Thanks to his cultivation, his energy has swelled by 2 full years. Finally, the moment he's been prepping for is here. It's time to raid the Trrena dimension. He arrives at the military-locked portal, feeling the heavy tension in the air. Armed guards halt his progress, demanding credentials. Soo-hyuk flashes his hunter ID and receives the green light to proceed. License registered. Suddenly, a voice calls out. It's an aide to Vice President Kim Young-soo, sent specifically to greet him. Acting as his guide, the man leads Soo-hyuk toward a portal that radiates a terrifyingly massive amount of energy. The blinding gateway pulses with power. The aide mentions a mysterious ally waiting inside, which immediately sets off Soo-hyuk's alarms. It's apparently just technical support for some high-end gear. Then it clicks. The former emperor remembers the promised Elvenheim tech. Elvenheim equipment. If elves are involved, there's a high chance he's about to reunite with the legendary Shahar. Ready for whatever comes next, Soo-hyuk plunges into the massive rift. He emerges in a world already undergoing colonization. He steps onto alien soil, finally witnessing the Trrena dimension. The very air here feels heavy with a strange ancient mana. His contact should be waiting on the 3rd floor of the local inn. Scanning the crowd, he looks for a familiar face. Where are all the high rankers, probably out hunting? He guns his ATV, pulling up to the tavern to meet his assistant. Stepping inside after parking, he finally uncovers the reason behind that unsettling emptiness. A voice cuts through the crowd, asking if he's solo since the first floor is totally slammed. Even with higher rates, the second floor is booked, so Soo-hyuk demands a spot on the third. Stunned, the clerk explains, the third floor requires reservations, heavy cash, and features elite magical soundproofing. Reserved for VIPs, the attendant insists on checking the schedule for any mandatory opening. Soo-hyuk reveals he has company, leaving the man floored that he didn't lead with that flex. Led inside, the clerk pulls up the records for the legendary former emperor Kim Ji-won. His party just arrived. Soo-hyuk notes the luxury of having staff dedicated solely to the elite floor. The sheer contrast to the lobby is insane. This is peak capitalism at its finest. Escorted to room 328, Ji-won points out the service button for any high-end needs. Soo-hyuk's gaze locks on the mysterious figure waiting inside, though his assistant is nowhere in sight. A familiar scent lingers, but it's not Shahar, it's Serenial, the second disciple of Kal Alariert. Addressing him as warrior, she admits meeting such a legend is a profound honor. Stunned into silence, Soo-hyuk watches, as the elf quickly apologizes for her stiff social skills. Admitting she struggles with people, the former emperor reassures her, and gestures for her to sit. Enveloped in total privacy, the two face each other over freshly brewed tea. Serenial reveals the tea features rare gold moon leaves, a treasure harvested by the Elaine clan. This offering is literally worth more than gold, giving Soo-hyuk a taste of the VIP life. One sip later, he cuts to the chase, and the elf immediately drops the polite act. Soo-hyuk inquires about the legendary Cosmo energy detector, prompting Serenial to search through her robes. Presenting the artifact, she explains, this prototype successfully tracks energy from rank 7 portals and below. Known as Under the Shadow of the World Tree, she tells him to simply call it Shadow. Limitations aside, she promises an upgrade soon, so Soo-hyuk demands she activate the device immediately. Scouring an entire island is no easy feat, so Serenial triggers the high-tech scanner. Chanting in an ancient tongue, the elf pours her absolute focus into the mysterious artifact. As the incantation peaks, blinding energy radiates outward, catching the former emperor completely off guard. A holographic map of Trrena flickers to life, highlighting a single distant mountain peak. Unfamiliar with the terrain, the exact coordinates elude him until something else grabs his attention. Noticing the elf's pale complexion, he checks on her, but she insists she only needs rest. She successfully pinpointed the Cosmo energy 300 kilometers away in the Prisa mountain range. She pushes for an immediate departure, but Soo-hyuk opts to wait until sunrise despite her warnings. Prioritizing her recovery, he claims exhaustion to delay the trip, leaving Serenial in stunned silence. Soo-hyuk schedules a crack of dawn departure, but the elf stops him before he can exit. Clarifying that this suite is his, she departs for the room next door with a farewell. Dawn arrives swiftly with golden rays piercing the window to wake the slumbering suite. Already alert, Soo-hyuk senses her approach and swings the door open to greet Serenial. Checking on her recovery, he's relieved when she gratefully confirms she's back to full strength. Ready to move, the duo heads straight for their ride to start the mission. Realizing the quad bike is a tight squeeze, he asks if she's comfortable riding pillion. Confused, she listens as he awkwardly explains she must hold on tight once he hits the gas. They tear through the ghost town streets, unaware of the shadowy eyes tracking their departure. Ji-won confirms their exit, but the bald man tries to stall on the promised payment. Demanding the upfront cash, Ji-won hears that an elf's involvement is worth an extra billion won. When Ji-won protests the change, the powerhouse silences him with a chilling, predatory smile. The giant threatens Ji-won's life cold-bloodedly, reminding him that his promises are final. Ji-won's blood boils with pure stubbornness after that punk snatched his intel and bailed. He's testing his luck to see if destiny favors him. Meanwhile, the duo tears through the desolate road, tracking the loot on their ATV. Serenial navigates barking orders 17 kilometers straight, a sharp right, then hammer down for another 20 kilometers. Soo-hyuk senses a disturbance. Aggressive beasts are closing in for the kill, led by a swarm of monstrous rats. Serenial invokes a gnome spell, carving a bloody path through the horde, while the creatures are blasted back. Summoning the water spirit Undine, she unleashes a watery avatar that drowns the rats in pure elemental fury. Soo-hyuk questions her spirit summoning arts, curious about the elf's true potential, until a massive mutated rat halts their progress. The situation spirals. As he maneuvers to evade the beast, the elf conjures another gnome spell to retaliate. An earth spirit emerges, but the giant rat crushes it instantly. Serenial gasps as her barrier shatters like glass. Adrenaline surging, Soo-hyuk steps up to take charge. The monster shrieks, sensing the lethal threat charging straight for its throat. Preparing his strike, Soo-hyuk unleashes a wind fist that tears a massive gaping hole right through the beast. The beast collapses. A livid Soo-hyuk growls, "How dare you touch my 800 million won investment?" The elf is stunned, witnessing a wind spirit's power, a feat supposedly impossible for any mere human. The Awakener clarifies, "It's no spirit, just raw energy, condensing air into a projectile. Still, the display is terrifying. Her awe lingers. Manipulating chi explosions with such precision requires a mastery level that's honestly cracked. He wields it effortlessly. Witnessing his rapid growth, she finally understands why her master praised him so highly. Suyuk's instincts scream danger. A lethal fireball streaks toward them, detonating against the earth in a violent blast. The ex-emperor's god-tier reflexes save them both. Suhyuk quickly checks if Sereniel is still in one piece. Dazed by the sudden chaos, she nods and thanks him as a fleet of vehicles thunders toward them. The elf wonders if they're his acquaintances, but Suhyuk's just as clueless as he eyes the incoming threat. Those rides are shielded by magical barriers, making a frontal assault suicidal. He asks the elf, "Can you drive?" Fortunately, she sports a dimensional license. When Suhyuk asks about her experience, she looks a bit lost. She claims 3 years of road time before grabbing the handlebars. He asks if she can bypass those cars. After she confirms, the Awakener shouts to floor it as the vehicle's set for a high-speed collision. An enemy clutches a cursed artifact convinced they're dead meat. With a smirk, the thug hurls the stone. The stone shatters, erupting into a blinding sandstorm skill. Sereniel shouts, "Hold on tight," as she prepares to dodge. Executing a perfect swerve, she clears the traps. Suhyuk grins at the teamwork before launching himself onto their car. The thugs panic as a heavy thud echoes from the roof. Suhyuk digs his fingers into the metal frame. He channels raw energy for explosive power. Seeing this, the bald thug thinks he's just another suicidal maniac. Suhyuk strains to peel back the roof while the bald guy laughs, calling him a fool for trying. Despite the dwarven-forged reinforced steel, Suhyuk rips it wide open, leaving his enemies absolutely speechless with terror. They scramble to target the ex-emperor. One thug steps up, launching a scorching fireball directly at Suhyuk's face. The ex-emperor uses the torn roof as a makeshift shield, the legendary metal shrugging off the intense heat. Discarding the shield, Suhyuk snatches a passenger from the seat, sending the bald thug into a total frenzy. But panic turns to horror as they barrel toward a massive stone wall. The vehicle impacts with bone-shattering force. Sereniel smirks at their success while the bald guy trembles, unable to believe they were defeated so effortlessly. Refusing to yield, the brute leaps from the wreckage, his feet transforming into solid stone as he lands. Fully transformed, the Titan vows to crush the skinny bastard under his now massive, terrifying frame. Suhyuk just grins. It's been a minute since he's fought a transformer. The stone giant charges with murderous intent. Suhyuk evades the crushing weight, keeping his distance. However, the former emperor feels his body unusually stiff today. Sereniel intervenes, sensing the stone man's deceptive power. Suhyuk estimates their opponent is at least a rank 10. Avoiding a direct clash, Suhyuk suddenly freezes. The massive stone titan has vanished into thin air. They spin around, sensing a deadly tremor rising from deep underground. Then, a surprise attack catches them off guard. They leap just in time, but his 800 million won quad bike is pulverized. That jump saved his skin, but Suhyuk is fuming. His entire fortune was just turned into scrap metal. He orders the elf to fall back. Intent on reverting his foe to human form, Suhyuk lunges with godlike speed. Blasting toward the titan, Suhyuk strikes only thin air. The stone giant has completely vanished. His velocity defied Suhyuk's senses. Suddenly, the monster erupts from the earth in a vicious sneak attack. Luckily, the former emperor parries just in time. How did he slip behind him so effortlessly? He's tunneling like a vermin. To counter, Suhyuk decides it's time to unleash a devastating double skill. Echoing Park Mugi style, he taunts the behemoth, calling him a scurrying rat. The emperor freezes mid-stride. That obsidian skin is thick, and only one strategy remains. It's time for a head-on collision. If the exterior is impenetrable, he'll shatter the core using his specialized internal destruction technique. But the giant sneers, asking if Suhyuk truly believed he held a monopoly on internal demolition arts. Trapped in a corner, Suhyuk faces a lethal strike. Terrified, Sereniel screams out for her warrior. Grinning wickedly, the stone man targets her next. He jokes about taking her away, but his patience has evaporated. Desperate to save her companion and slay this beast, Sereniel prepares her ultimate move, invoking the ancient spirits. The monster sneers, promising to reunite her with her friend in the afterlife. He strikes, raising a massive dust cloud. As the haze clears, Sereniel stands untouched. Slowly, the reality of her salvation begins to sink in. There stands Suhyuk, effortlessly catching the blow. The stone man's face twists in pure disbelief. Suhyuk seizes the moment to flex, asking if he's learned that true softness can shatter iron. Fluidity conquers brute strength. Suhyuk admits he underestimated this freakish octopus, never expecting such raw power. The former emperor gauges his aura at rank 12. This insult sends the enemy into a blind fury. The stone man lunges again, but his limbs refuse to obey. He's paralyzed as Suhyuk delivers the cold truth. 2 weeks ago, this fight might have been close. But today, the power gap is simply insurmountable. He asks if he sees the conceptual lines governing all space. They aren't endless. These lines warp, snap, and mend. He asks if the giant knows the name for the void between them. They are fractures, Soo-hyuk explains as he lightly taps a single critical pressure point. Even a mountain standing for 1,000 years will crumble if its foundational fractures are compromised. Hairline cracks spiderweb across the stone man. Soo-hyuk declares his journey as an awakened ends right here. The titan collapses. Horrified, he feels his very essence beginning to leak out of his body. His power is vanishing forever. The broken man desperately begs for his lost strength to return. Li Wujin's reign of terror is over. Without their abilities, they're just pathetic bottom-tier thugs. A mysterious brand marks the leader's arm. Under interrogation, a darker secret finally emerges. They belong to Magnus, a notorious global syndicate. Most weren't even on the association's radar. Magnus has been illegally manufacturing, awakened, and scrubbing their official files from the database. This level of corruption requires a high-level mole. Soo-hyuk knows he must consult Shin-woo immediately. One by one, the criminals are hauled away. Their upcoming hell doesn't bother Soo-hyuk in the slightest. He worries if this brutality shocks Serenial, but she coldly demands they move out. Destination Trapped Mountain. They still have a mission to secure that elusive Cosmo energy. He agrees, sensing the lingering tension. From the shadows, Serenial shoots a gaze filled with lethal intent. These scumbags deserve every bit of agony. Terrified by her aura, the group prepares to advance. Together with the captured crew, they trek toward the peak in search of the cosmic power. The inn is buzzing as usual until Andre and his squad storm in, commanding everyone's attention. He confirms his target is indeed in this dimension. Now, he just needs to sniff them out. Panic fills the room. After all, one of the Universal 8 has arrived. Andre tells them to chill. They ascend toward the VIP suites. Suddenly, a voice cuts through the silence, stopping them cold. It's Jae Wang claiming he has vital intel. Andre muses that humans are truly such peculiar creatures. He claims raw emotion can override logic and drive action. The guide is completely lost. The blonde simply dismisses it as nothing. Desperate to please, Jae-won spills the beans. His target vanished with an elf. Worse, the Magnus Guild is already hunting them down. Jae-won even tries hyping the elf's beauty to Lord Vladimir. Andreev's silent contemplation gives Jae-won a false sense of security. He's vibing, thinking he's finally made it big. Scoring a chat with a member of the Universal 8 felt like a dream until Andre's cold response cut like a blade. The elite blonde only cares about his pristine white suit. He was merely testing the depths of Jae-won's pathetic greed. To Andre, he's just Magnus-affiliated garbage. He coldly orders the trash to be cleared out immediately. Over at Blackfang Ridge, the hunt for Cosmo Energy has hit the 1-week mark with 0 results. Soo-hyuk has been carving through monsters, yet nothing. Suddenly, a strange ripple in a water drop catches his eye. He glances up into the darkness. A nightmare-inducing massive bat is staring back from the ceiling. The beast dives. It unleashes a deafening supersonic shriek that leaves Serenial reeling in pain. Soo-hyuk instantly covers her ears, shielding her from the blast. "Stay behind me," he commands. His barrier holds firm against the sonic waves. Infuriated, the giant bat lunges for a lethal strike. Serenial senses it pure Cosmo energy radiating from the beast. This is the dungeon boss. A flame bat. A standard wind strike won't cut it. It's time to unleash something heavier. He fires a fist wind barrage light circles tearing through the air, but the boss counters with a literal wall of fire. Narrowly dodging a fiery death, Soo-hyuk realizes the bat is evolving. He'll have to break his limits to win. Charging forward, he preps his ultimate barrage. The bat shrieks a final clash between man and monster. Boom Soo-hyuk's power tears through the beast. Serenial watches absolutely floored by his overwhelming strength. The winged nightmare crashes to the ground. "Without your flight, you're just another target," Soo-hyuk scoffs. He doesn't hesitate. With one final blow, the flame bat is officially erased from existence. Level up. Despite the intense combat, his internal energy stays topped off thanks to his insane recovery stats. It's basically an infinite mana hack. His eyes gleam as he spots the boss's hidden loot. Digging through the remains, he pulls out a massive glowing crystal. Could this be the legendary Cosmo energy? Serenial confirms the mission is a success. Now the ex-emperor just needs to collapse this portal for good. First, a quick check-in with the association. Meanwhile, Serenial finds a rare high-tier monostone. They've slaughtered 1,000 monsters here. Most were just trash mobs, but the monostones, those are pure profit. In just 7 days, he's bagged 11 6-star stones. Serenial notes, these gems are exceptionally potent. They're the key to crafting a 7-star jewel, a payday worth a staggering 160 million. Total haul, over 2.08 billion won. Our boy is officially swimming in cash. Even after the taxman takes his cut, that new ATV is a lock. Then Serenial drops a total shocker. She's passing on the loot. Elves don't care for human currency. She only wants a few future favors. She hands him the stone, insisting he did the heavy lifting. Soo-hyuk's conscience isn't vibing with a total monopoly. "If it bothers you, come visit Elvenheim," she teases. A standing invitation to the Elven realm. She wants martial arts lessons, claiming she's weak compared to her master. Soo-hyuk reminds her she's a top-tier mage. Turns out Shahar is a mage too. Yet Riel senses a unique legendary spark in Soo-hyuk's specific combat style. She's humble about her skills, but she's determined to get stronger under his guidance. She refuses to be dead weight on the battlefield. With a smirk, Soo-hyuk promises to drop by Elvenheim soon. Time to bounce. They hit the road, headlights cutting through the pitch-black silence of the empty highway. As the rendezvous point nears, Serenial gazes out the window, lost in thought before making her move. "This is my stop," she says. Soo-hyuk's expression shifts. He's clearly not ready for this partnership to end. He pulls over anyway. Serenial offers a sincere thanks for keeping her safe through the madness. "Don't sweat it," he replies, hoping their paths cross again in this chaotic world. She reminds him of his promise to visit her home. No accidental meetings next time. This was destiny. They'll see each other again, hopefully, when the world isn't crawling with high-rank monsters. One last goodbye. "Call me Riel when we meet again," she whispers, disappearing into the night. He's left speechless, but eventually caves to her small demand. While the henchman can't stand playing third wheel anymore, the partnership is officially over. He grabs his mask, sensing the time is right. The former monarch recalls Shinwoo's advice: a hero needs flair. Donning the mask, he hammers the gas, ready to drop a cinematic exit from this realm. He rips through the rift with the Magnus crew finally landing back on Earth. A massive crowd is already waiting. He slams the brakes, sending the thugs tumbling inside. Public curiosity peaks as he steps out, flaunting that overwhelming legendary energy. Minds are blown by the Trannon aura, yet the hero's true identity remains a mystery. Suddenly, No Name steps into the light. Word spreads. The hero totally eclipsed Vladimir, but some still doubt the hype. Young Soo-hyuk offers his gratitude to the masked savior and asks for a moment to verify the haul. The sensors confirm it. The Cosmo energy is real. The assistant beams with joy. With zero doubt remaining, young Soo-hyuk kicks off the celebration. He announces No Name successfully recovered the energy, leaving the crowd in absolute shock. Then they start chanting the hero's name. Nearby, the Blood Prince gets the update on the quick departure. Andreev is stunned. The kid finished so fast. He smirks, but internal rage boils over being outperformed. He admits No Name is legit. Fuming at Shinwoo, Andreev orders a retreat since there's no reason to stay. The blonde walks past the crowd, feeling their judging eyes. He's been completely eclipsed. Vladimir scoffs at their mediocrity, hating how they cling to other people's success. He's not here for scraps. Andreev realizes Baek Mugan is becoming a dangerous wildcard. The stakes just got higher. Meanwhile, the Magnus thugs are hauled away in handcuffs. Young Soo urges them to move before the media swarms. The vice president has arrived. Young Soo leads him away. Shinwoo enters the tent to find Soo-hyuk waiting with a smirk. The redhead mentions the legendary performance. The hero figures a little flexing was due. Soo-hyuk doesn't mind the shadows. The vice president commends his incredible work and says the association will handle the rest. Then the former emperor mentions Magnus. Shinwoo's smile turns stiff. Soo-hyuk realizes he knew about the crime ring all along. Laughing nervously, the VP begs him to stop looking so ready to throw a punch. He apologizes and admits he's known about the Magnus Korean branch for ages. They hadn't made a major move yet, but the ex-emperor isn't buying the excuses. Orders from the top kept them silent because the Magnus name carries too much weight. Spilling the truth puts his career and even his life on the line. Soo-hyuk asks if the president is involved, but Shinwoo's lips are professionally sealed. The ex-emperor pushes harder. Shinwoo warns that politics make this incredibly dangerous. He apologizes for the mess and promises to keep the hero out of the crosshairs. The redhead vows this won't happen again. He's genuinely sorry. Soo-hyuk decides to trust him for now. But Shinwoo has one more burning question. He heard the others lost their powers permanently. Was that the hero's doing? Without hesitation, Soo-hyuk confirms it. Stunned, the redhead asks if that's even possible. He promises to keep it hush-hush, even if the secret won't stay buried forever. Soo-hyuk shrugs it off. Shifting gears, Shinwoo says the rank and cash drop tomorrow. Soo-hyuk is still mourning his 800 million won ATV though. The redhead says the Magnus SUV is being repaired and registered for him. It's a villain's ride, sure, but it's worth way more than his old wheels. With magic resistance and a 2 billion won value, it's a massive upgrade. Shinwoo sees the hero's face light up. The former emperor nods, confessing that losing his ride left a void in his soul. He accepts with total hype. Shinwoo insists it's just a small tribute for a national icon, the least they could possibly offer. A quick promise to call after the repairs, and they part. Later, Soo-hyuk stands at the bus stop waiting for his transport. It finally arrives. It's been forever since he used public transit, losing that ATV in the Trannon dimension. Honestly, zero regrets. The mission was such a dub he's basically floating. While his parents are shocked he's home from the trip so soon, his sister is strictly focused on the food. Moments like this remind Soo-hyuk of one very important thing. proving that true joy is actually right here. Dawn finally breaks. Sunbeams pierce through the window as a buzzing phone jolts Soo-hyuk awake. Who's hitting him up at this hour? To his shock, it's a notification for a massive bank deposit. His eyes bulge at the figure. 1.6 billion won. Long live Korea, he bellows, absolutely losing it. This was way beyond his expectations. With the association footing his car bills, things were looking up. He finally has time for his family, but a new message cuts his celebration short. Shinwoo confirms the rank up is ready. Soo-hyuk sprints out, eager to jump from rank 8 to 10. On the brink of gold rank, he preps for the trial, while Shinwoo faces a swarm of reporters. News of a no-name hunter soloing the Tyrant Dimension goes viral, setting the entire internet ablaze. Fans are already launching clubs for this mystery hero, as Soo-hyuk pulls up to the association HQ. Shinwoo hands over a rare ring, a legendary artifact wielded by only 5 people in the entire country. This mithril masterpiece is breathtaking. Though smaller than a bracelet, its power density is off the charts. It's a high-tier marvel reserved exclusively for those at rank 12 or above. Confused Soo-hyuk listens, as Shinwoo announces his new rank 13, a feat matched only by the legendary Baekmuchok. He's officially the nation's number 7, awakened. Soo-hyuk stands frozen, processing this unprecedented historical leap. Shinwoo sees even more potential. This top 10 status transforms him into a protected national asset with insane perks. He now gets a private secretary, a personal driver, and a high-end luxury sedan on the house. Soo-hyuk plans to gift the ride to his dad. Plus, he now enjoys rock-bottom interest rates on loans. Toss in 500 million won in housing support, and he's set, but one realization makes his heart pound. He won't be losing his hard-earned cash to taxes. Both men exchange a firm, mutual look of respect. Outside, his sister's voice rings out. Even the ex-emperor is stunned by this massive jump to rank 12. She's beaming with pride and dying to flex her brother's new status to the whole world. Soo-hyuk gives her the green light, but insists their parents hear the news from her first. He pauses, rethinking. Telling them everything at once might actually give the old folks a heart attack. Isn't it time they knew? She suggests starting with mom, since she's way more chill than dad. Soo-hyuk agrees it's the perfect opening. He's been searching for the right moment to come clean. Now a gold ranker, he feels ready to share the truth despite the nervous flutter in his chest. Sticking to the plan, he focuses on his meditation, his inner energy finally hitting the 1 gapcha mark. No rush. He'll reveal all when the timing is perfect, especially now that he's unlocked compound interest. This trait supercharges energy from his heaven and earth fusion art, a rare and powerful cultivation buff. Though the technique is usually slow, his relentless grind has pushed his efficiency past every other cultivator. No flashy skill beats the long-term gains of compound growth. Soo-hyuk's dedication to one path is finally paying off. No more shortcuts. He's finally wielding true martial arts, and he's only getting started. The human body is like thinly forged steel, brittle if not tempered with absolute care and precision. Perfect pressure creates indestructible strength. Limits, they're just illusions for those too weak to break through. A shadow looms over him. Soo-hyuk demands a name, and the figure reveals himself as Andre Vladimir. Andre greets him with a smirk, but the ex-emperor senses something chilling beneath that human exterior. I didn't think monsters like you still walked this earth, Soo-hyuk growls. Andre's grin only widens. This supernatural beast is impressed. Usually only Taoists or mages can sense his overwhelming dark presence. Mid-sentence, the blonde is forced to dodge a sudden lethal strike, but Soo-hyuk's assault is just beginning. Andre's mental fog failed. Surprised his spell was bypassed, he tries to de-escalate the situation. I'm just warming up, Soo-hyuk retorts. A heavy hitter from Universal 8 shouldn't be whining so much. Andre freezes. How does he know that Soo-hyuk cuts the chatter and seizes him by the collar? Activating his muscle technique, Soo-hyuk craters the blonde into the concrete. Andre coughs up a spray of crimson. This fight just got interesting. The Prince of Darkness came to play, but he's found a real demon. Soo-hyuk's pure disrespect ignites Andre's rage. A blood-red magic circle erupts, trapping the Emperor in a deadly mist. Now the tables have turned, as he demands the truth. The blonde adversary sneers, warning that no amount of savagery can tank his next strike. An eerie power surges through Soo-hyuk's veins. He can feel his very essence beginning to shift, as a strange energy takes hold. Since his karma and spiritual core dwarf his opponents, the scales of fate remain perfectly balanced in this encounter. Mental resistance activated. The system pushes back against the curse, elevating the skill level to rank B instantly. Radiant energy cloaks Soo-hyuk's entire frame. The system confirms a flawless defense, completely nullifying the enemy's dark sorcery. Andreev stares in pure disbelief at the failed spell. Suddenly, Soo-hyuk's fist connects, burying the monster into the concrete. The vampire reels, stunned that a mere mortal bypassed his mental shackles. Soo-hyuk is done talking and ready to end this. The Dark Prince raises a shield just in time. Still, he is impressed a human actually managed to make him spill blood. That realization ignites his fury. The antagonist rises, wreathed in a suffocating aura of pure, unadulterated malice. Now he is unleashing his true might. He lunges at the former emperor, but Soo-hyuk simply responds with a cold, confident grin. Each strike is effortlessly parried, leaving the Dark Prince shaken. Soo-hyuk's brilliance only intensifies under the pressure of the fight. Shifting to a brutal offense, he asks if the show is over. Now, it is time for the real pain to begin. Andreev's vision fades to black. As light returns, the former emperor towers over him, noting he has finally regained consciousness. Soo-hyuk mocks his fragility, questioning if the legendary Universal Eight are all this pathetic and easily defeated. Andreev scoffs at hearing such arrogance from a mere human. Meanwhile, the former emperor begins to analyze the creature's sinister energy. He demands to know if he's facing a vampire. The blonde youth remains silent, smiling as Andreev scans their new surroundings. Surveying the drab parking lot, Soo-hyuk shrugs, admitting it was the only convenient spot to dump his body. The vampire laments his pathetic condition. Gaping at his reflection in a mirror, he can't believe he actually suffered such a defeat. Falling in such a tiny nation is humiliating. Andreev demands Soo-hyuk's identity, but our hero reminds him he asked first. The blonde man finds his nature obvious to anyone watching. Soo-hyuk reports that the world is doomed if he is the savior. If a blood-sucking leech is humanity's last hope, we're finished. Andreev pouts, claiming he actually adores the human race. The former emperor finds that hard to swallow, coming from a monster who feeds like a glorified mosquito. The vampire argues he doesn't consume flesh, but Soo-hyuk notes he still leaves husks behind. Despite his predatory nature, he claims Soo-hyuk is the terrifying one. The emperor sees no fear in him, prompting the vampire to reveal his secret. This isn't his true physical form. Soo-hyuk flinches in surprise as Andreev poses a chilling and calculated question. Did he honestly think the progenitor, the Lord of Night, would bring his actual body to such a treacherous land? In this foreign territory, he plays nice. These days, blatant blood drinking causes too much modern-day panic and unwanted attention. To avoid chaos, he remains restrained. He urges the former emperor to trust his words, seeing no downside to cooperation. There's nothing to lose by listening. Yet Soo-hyuk is fixated on one detail: the man standing before him is just a shell. It finally clicks. That is why the creature's physical prowess paled in comparison to his overwhelming magical output. He had attempted to sever the mana threads during the blackout to seal his power, but the attempt failed completely. Andreev interrupts his focus. The Blood Prince has satisfied his curiosity and now demands the awakened speak the truth. A non-mage who recognizes his kind and shatters mental charms is no ordinary man. He demands to know his origin. While the city sleeps, Andreev chases Soo-hyuk through the streets, begging for a polite answer to his burning question. He suggests a fair trade of information. However, the awakened refuses to reveal his secrets to a predator, especially one who tried to assassinate him first. Lord Vladimir insists that making an enemy out of him is a mistake. Soo-hyuk finds the clone disappointing. He can't properly harvest its energy. He senses the vampire's true terrifying depth. Had this been the original progenitor, the outcome would be uncertain. In that moment of realization, his pride as a peak master stings. He realizes the summit is still miles away, leaving only one narrow path forward. To reach absolute harmony, a realm where no existence can ever hope to threaten his sovereign authority again. Pests like this vampire would be beneath him. True freedom requires absolute power, and Soo-hyuk craves even more. Andreev Feek lingers, calling out for them to walk together, as civilians stroll past, oblivious to the monsters. Stalking behind him, the vampire insists they shouldn't clash. He admits he's actually grown quite fond of Soo-hyuk. He admires the cool arrogance of a man who actually has the godlike strength to back it up. To him, Soo-hyuk radiates a unique energy unlike any other Asian he's met, leaving the awakened feeling totally uneasy. Fans spot Lord Vladimir, sparking a wild frenzy as cameras start rolling on the duo. Unable to escape the limelight, he pulls Soo-hyuk along while Andrei pushes for a friendship. Losing patience, the awakened threatens total annihilation if he moves. The vampire claims his hands are tied. It is his only shot at talking while bystanders gossip about their bizarre growing connection. Soo-hyuk is visibly annoyed when someone whispers that he is exactly Vladimir's type. Beyond the chatter, lenses are everywhere, leaving him trapped in the center of the spectacle. He demands the vampire's goal. Vladimir just wants a chat, teasing how he tracked him down. Hating the racket, Soo-hyuk demands they move before the paparazzi mob them even further. Soo-hyuk bolts, challenging the vampire to keep up until they find sanctuary from the flashes. Andrei checks if the coast is clear, and as the awakener nods, something catches his eye. A smirking group lurks nearby. The vampire dismisses them as punks before a boy talks back. He snaps at them to back off while a blonde girl gushes over their striking looks. Mid-conversation, she wonders if they are actors recognizing a face from somewhere in the spotlight. Andrei ignores the brats, insisting they focus on the high-stakes matters at hand instead. Their attempt to leave triggers a punk's ego. A weary sigh only fuels the boy's rage. The kid lunges, but Soo-hyuk catches him effortlessly before slamming him into the cold wall. Horror strikes the girls as the boys are crushed. One desperate teen begs for the police. Andre sneers, mocking the youth for being clueless about the monsters they just provoked. Recognition finally hits. The vampire asks the trembling kid if the reality has sunk in yet. Realizing their insignificance, the terrified punks stammer out apologies and vanish into the night. Andre tries to claim friendship, but Soo-hyuk remains cold, demanding the vampire speak his piece. Lord Vladimir agrees to 3 questions, starting with how the awakened neutralized his ancient magic. Silence is Soo-hyuk's answer. Vladimir then probes if he is an origin, sparking confusion. Andre notes his medical file lists him as a coma survivor, yet his powers defy logic. He is far beyond mere physical boosts. Then the Lord of Darkness leans in close. He questions his knowledge of mages, correcting Soo-hyuk's assumption that they are just typical awakeners. True magic predates the portals hidden from the world long before the realms ever collided. Real sorcerers are not awakened. They study under masters or follow an ancient path of discipline. They bond with legendary magic tomes to unlock true power. Andre explains the secret history. These elite are purebloods or origins. Soo-hyuk wonders if they are born with this gift. He questions what triggers their latent power. The Lord of Darkness delivers a blunt reality check. Ignorance proves he is not one of them. Moving on, the final question is posed. Lord Vladimir asks if he has ever considered joining the elite Universal 8. Soo-hyuk questions why this legendary defense squad, the peak of humanity, would ever want him. Andre clarifies that contracts are rare, and only a select few determine who is truly worthy. Pointing to himself, he asks if Soo-hyuk knows the origin of the group's name. The ex-emperor is stunned that a vampire founded the squad. Vladimir's smirk confirms the shocking truth. A monster leading humanity's shield feels wrong, but Andre reiterates his strange fondness for mortals. Andre explains how the world shifted forever once the gates opened and dimensions began to bleed. To save crumbling nations, he forged alliances and deals, giving birth to the Universal 8. He aimed for 10 members, but surprisingly, many top-tier warriors actually rejected his grand offer. Soo-hyuk is shocked the roster is incomplete. That wraps up